my gamers, howdy. All right, busy. Last minute preparations have been completed, but I mean, just in time for the matches. Let's get through with the pleasantries first, real quick. It is, of course, Sunday evening, and the Weekly Bounty Hunters is just about to get started here in a couple of minutes. For the upcoming 3 hours, we're gonna be settling the score for these 7 show matches shown on the screen currently. We were almost down to 6, but saved it. Our event has no inherent skill level restrictions, so we are technically open to everybody to participate. But of course, we try to make the matches as even as possible for the enjoyment of the players as well as the viewers. The name of the game today is Guilty Gear Strive, and the format is first to 7 wins. And I am your usual host, QK. Let's see what we can say about the matches for the next swift couple of hours before it's go time. It is actually almost go time. Let me actually do a couple of things. First, we are very late today. Or rather, not we, I guess, me. I don't want to push the, whatchamacallit, responsibility on you guys. Heck, what was the... Can't remember the Discord tags for all of my players. Oh yeah, of course. Damn, hosting events is a blowout. Yeah, okay. Well, I already sent the prompt to the first pair, so... Okay, well, what's there to say about this event? So we've got 2 bedmans, that's pretty huge. Even though, like, other one of the bedman pilots is in the first slot today, Simppi, who has been, like, recently browsing through a couple of different characters. I think Simppi has signed up with... almost, yeah, I'm pretty sure every single event Simppi has signed up for has been signing up for rather with a new character, and it's definitely no shame to test out the waters. Other newcomers tonight are in the matchup slot 6, I think, in double amount as Color May as well as KingAura. Testament are gonna face off in an interesting match that is actually UK to East Coast US. So our international match tonight, supposedly the connection is working fine, which usually has been the case with East Coast US and UK. Our second matchup of the evening got saved just in time. I think Leif's opponent had to retreat on a very short notice, but we got an immediate catch, and Ruby sort of volunteered to step in on their May. So we're indeed gonna have the 7 matchup roster as originally planned, even though the characters, or rather the players, have switched up a little. Another interesting switch up story here for Phantomicious in the slot number 3, where Phantomicious technically had their debut match last week, but we had to sort of, in the middle of it, cancel. So it didn't get completed. So Phantomicious is gonna get the full experience tonight against one of our super regulars, HiWill, on that cool bedman. I think players have entered the room, so should probably bring out the cards as well. So we're gonna start. We're gonna talk about the other matchups when it is time. But for now, let's go back to the first one of the evening. It's gonna be Simppi Bedman, our rookie skill level matchup of the evening. Generally start with the lighter matches, and then as the story progresses, we're gonna slowly slide into the super heavy hitters at the end of the evening, which is kind of the sort of the theme today as well. So two characters, if you consider the skill bracket that these are in, two rather technical characters, especially in Happy Chaos, who is very, very reliant on combo execution to not only get the maximum damage, the wall breaks, and the everything out of whenever you get those hits, because, you know, Happy Chaos is known as that character who, on basically any hit, if you have the resources, you should get a really good conversion as well. And is my thingamajig not working? Let's do this quick. There we go. Okay. Got the scoreboard as well. But yeah, there's a lot of potential hidden behind execution on Happy Chaos, but same a little bit for Bedman as well, because like the ultimate goal of Bedman is of course to get your opponent into those tough set play loops, those pressure loops, could even say guard crush loops, the same way that Johnny or Goat Lewis can put you there. But it's a little bit harder for Bedman to get there. To fulfill your condition, you kind of have to weave your deja vus, or rather the, what are they called in this game, errors. Do a special move. Once you fire that special move, a timer on the background starts rolling, and eventually Bed will throw out the corresponding follow-up automatically, and those follow-ups are really powerful, and you can do some really nasty pressure loops with those. But we're getting the party started here with the 8-way air movement into jump slash, the button you wanna definitely keep watching out for when it comes to Bedman. It's been like one of the go-to party starters, especially after the buffs, where the jump slash got a really massive vacuum property, so it's much easier to pressure with, much easier to combo with in this patch. And now Violet starting their own game plan, forcing Simppi to actually having to burst out of this. They have 2 bullets left to go, install super online. And usually in this kind of game state, you're gonna see with the install super, you're gonna see a lot of those spike follow-ups, which are the lightning bolts. And they still, I think all of the follow-ups, all of the errors still guard crush, even including the spike follow-up. So it's gonna have lots of chip potential, lots of keep away potential, and it's really hard to cancel those follow-ups as well during that install super, if I recall correctly. I got the curse on, the Goomba stuck to the other side, but still looking for that decisive hit. Now, a lot of people think that, you know, you could just take out the gun and start shooting immediately, but that's... Ooh! Speaking of, got the trick shot there. The reversal was violent blocking. Yes, they were. Once again, strategical burst from Simppi. Don't want to get locked out in the corner. Both players are extremely elusive. Oh, too heavy on block. Nothing. Cancel into nothing. Is a very, very unsafe move, if I recall correctly, frame data-wise. But the RPS, there's quite a bit of RPS in terms of what Bed would like to cancel into. So it's not always, you know, it's not always feasible to take your turn, even if there would be no cancel. And Happy Chaos is not a DP character, so there's way more that Bedman gets to do with that particular normal. It's a very important normal for, you know, basically pressure strings and stalling for time to... Oh, is this gonna hit behind? Yes, indeed! That actually puts Violet through the wall with a reverse super with those God-given hitboxes and hurtboxes that Lord and Savior Ishibatare put there. And again, the Ghost Slash will get hit by the reversal super. Massive, massive damage coming through from those reversal supers from Simppi. 2 reversal supers, unscaled hits on a target that is not the best defensive modifier for sure. I guess Happy Chaos is not on the bottom end of the scale. I forgot how much EHP he has, but like he's definitely not the strongest target in terms of like being able to take damage. But starting out this time pretty strong. 2 bullets in the chamber. 5B anti-air as well this time, able to backdash out of the reversal super before it even starts. But now we're kind of low on bullets, but it does not end up mattering if we get the reversal super. Deus Ex Machina is gonna get full value from that. Not only the wall break and the damage, but look at that, got the full magazine as well. And now ready to do all those nasty mix-ups that Happy Chaos is known for. Perfect save there. If Simppi didn't get hit there, if he was somehow able to defend through all that, it would have been kind of tricky for Violet to sort of get the comeback. Happy Chaos is one of those tricky resource management characters after all. If you run completely out of resources, especially bullets, the resource that does not come back automatically, you have to do some really tricky moves or bluff your opponent into respecting enough so that you could reload the gun. But at YRC, pressure ends here. Decent amount of resources. We can mix. Ooh, the reversal super into the right direction as well. Interesting. I wonder if Simppi was actually expecting that cross up there with a Goomba Stomp. The last hit should be good, and Violet brings it back 1-1. This is just getting started, and this second game, Violet was looking really, really good on the execution department too. Like, I'm always a little worried with these super technical characters. Ooh, double Goomba Stomp, all right. I'm always a little bit worried with these super technical characters, especially in the lower end of skill brackets, but it looks like Violet has the sort of basic bare minimum execution under control, and it's looking really good. Half the bullets ready to go. And massive life advantage, yeah, there we go. If you just take out the gun and start shooting before your opponent is in block stun, there is a little bit of RNG in terms of where your reticle will land. And of course, ooh, that's way too far. Simppi's gonna have... I was about to say he's gonna have a good time, but you definitely aren't gonna have a good time with that little health left to spend. Those situations, ooh, the second Goomba Stomp gets the hit, prompts the burst immediate from Simppi. And the shot lands on its target with the use of that curse that was applied before. Left, right. The gunshot does miss. Yeah, it's the sort of the technical end of the thing is that if you take out your gun and shoot immediately, unless the opponent is in block stun, it's ooh, a little bit of a mistake there on the routing. Prompts YRC from Violet. Still out of concentration, but does that matter? We still get the last hit, going with the basic strike throw. Getting another one in a row.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Starting with the makeshift backdash, which is the curse ball throw. It moves you really far back, so it is kind of like an alternative backdash input. Backdash plus, if you will. It of course does not have the backdash invulnerabilities, but if there's a lot of distance between you and your opponent, you might as throw it with the curse ball because it has some added benefits, making your reticle kind of find its mark a little bit easier during the round. But now we're gonna go. Ooh, misses the 6 heavy. We still got the deja vu on the background. Looking for another one. Good mash there. The party starter was interrupted. The special move that is usually what Batman wants to land first and foremost. The whatchamacallit. Did I forget the name? God. What is the most important special move for Batman? Do I have aphasia again? That's gonna bother me until I check. Malfunction, that's the one. Malfunction. Jesus Christ. Oh, we got the fully charged 5D. This will potentially go into a lot of damage, but I wonder if there was a mistake in execution, or if we haven't just learned that combo yet. Walk on the reversal super. This isn't gonna be a kill yet. Batman is technically a big body in terms of, you know, his mobility options such as backdashes, but also on the defensive department. And now Simppi might have a chance here, but no! Goes into the Beyblade without RC. It is of course one very common option for you to get that error rolling in the background, but it does require you to have that 50 meter to RC out of it. The Beyblade alone for Batman is quite minus on block after all. Yeah, there's the malfunction, which immediately prompts the startup of the bombhead error, which is, I think, one of the most desirable follow-ups, especially in the non-install form. Alright, popping the medication at full screen. The closer you are to your opponent, the faster your concentration is gonna return, especially in that install mode. Right again, into the front. Gonna have a wall break here with limited resources though, so this could potentially be a chance for Simppi to go in. The chance is indeed granted. What are we gonna do with it? Trying to perhaps walk into a throw. But once again, Violet, very vigilant there, not letting that stuff go through that easily. That is, of course, the throw is another potential party starter for Bedman players, because you can do throw into, I think, OTG Beyblade, which will get you that error started without the opponent being able to punish you. Now, once again, through the wall, half concentration left, and a hard knockdown. The most important thing, Simppi goes for a burst, breaks the positive bonus loop, very important. If you don't spend resources there, you're probably just dead. Straight up. It doesn't even need the super. The 6S gets the kill. Violet, with lots of momentum, lost the first game, but ever since then has a sort of displayed really good control of pretty much everything, as long as you get into the groove of things. The mix-ups have been working out pretty well. The combo execution working out pretty well, and most importantly, the resource management is doing pretty good. One of the most common... Oh, alright. We're popping the medication. Went bust there for a moment. This isn't a safe jump. It doesn't look like it. So Simppi will be able to deal maximum, or rather massive damage out of that. Jump slash from what angle? There was no anti-air that time. It kind of looked like Simppi was revving up for a 6-speed there, but it might have been something else. Coming again from a very ambiguous angle. Is it left? Is it right? This time, I think close slash was the anti-air of choice. Into 6 heavy malfunction, and that should be... Look at that damage from that 6 heavy starter. Massive, massive damage coming through. I think one of the things that Bedman definitely isn't lacking is damage. It's rather the consistency with which he can get to, like, he gets to do the damage. Ooh, the 6 heavy, another big party starter. Look at that Leif melting away, following it up with a 5D. This time, oh, not even with an RC. Do we even have the route? It looks like, I'm guessing it's already started with the jump slash, and I think in the fully charged 5D sequence there is still sort of the vacuum effect is still there. Unsure how you would combo that. Either way, Violet has started the run back. Is it gonna? No, was able to block in the right direction as well. So no rogue wall breaks from an ambiguous, obscure angle this time for Simppi. Using the jump slash, immediate burst from Violet. Kinda had to go for it. The next hit would have killed, and indeed, it's gonna be the chip damage of the follow-up. Or rather, the error of the spike that does the deed. That was even without an install super. So imagine how much more powerful that thing is when you, in that low damage or like low health situation, activate the install and start throwing those lightning fast thunderbolts. Thunder fast lightning bolts? English? Ooh, what a weird punish, but then a follow-up there from that 2K. Simppi bounces forward, however, just as fast. Violet gets out of the corner and finds a close slash counter hit. We're gonna slump as per usual until we have the resources. Or rather, I guess this time Violet has chosen to just slump as long as it takes for you to get the kill. There was, of course, an option to go for the Deus Ex Machina and reset into positive bonus loop. I mean, both routes are viable for sure. Oh, big jump slash counter hit into... Got the error as well, unleash it immediately. Ooh, the 2D and the burst. Simppi wants to fight for this one. We have a lot of meter as well. We can RC, I think with an optimal combo, or rather, no combo drop. That would have been a kill. However, it's still in the back. All right, everybody chill, everybody breathe. Breathe slowly. Even through those combo drops, you still have a chance as long as your opponent does not get a punish. And from a lot of those air juggle combos, if you drop those, your opponent is gonna drop on the ground and gonna be forced into that tech situation where you can still get a meaty, even if you made a huge mistake. Popping the ADHD medication and doing the old school zoning kind of stuff. Is it gonna work out? The downside, of course, is that modern Happy Chaos runs out of concentration really fast if you're standing on full screen, because like your concentration, how much it gets, I think it's consumed. Is it built as well? I'm not sure, but it gets consumed really fast if there's a lot of distance between you and your opponent. Therefore, the modern version of Happy Chaos is much more likely to go in and mix the opponent up, because you are in a very tight clock. So looks like Violet not feeling any of that right now. Pops Simppi through the wall. We have so many resources as well. The Goomba Stomp finds its mark, and with the execution that Violet has displayed so far, of course, we're gonna go into the perfect combo and loop even more. And look at this. Violet has so many resources, rather the tension, even going into this loop, there's just no way. There was probably one chance for Simppi to either burst immediately, but that's like an RPS situation, because Violet could be baiting there, right? But if you don't put an end to this loop immediately, there's gonna be like so many things that Violet could do after that. And continuing with the onslaught, moving forward, getting another positive bonus, trading into Simppi's normal, but not deterred even a little bit of a mistake there on the execution, but we just casually switch sides once again, pop the medication, close us into the reversal super. That's a lot of damage. That is a potential equalizer. One more of those could be almost a knockdown, but now the problem for Simppi, how are we gonna get in? Of course, Bedman being, which is, and then I just started blasting and ended the round. But yeah, Bedman is one of those heavier characters, big body characters, if you will, as we call them in the industry, and has also the signature White Wild Assault of the big bodies. We haven't seen it that much, but it is theoretically one option to try to force yourself in, try to, just ram yourself at the opponent from half screen away and not care about any of their zoning. Which is kind of funny, because Bedman does have a little bit of zoning of his own in a way. Tried to reach for the throw, I think, however, was a little too early. Another back throw, fighting with the position, bursting here, and I think the burst also, there was a big combo! And the punch with the 2P, slips and slides to the other side, fixes the concentration problem by popping the super concentration. A very nice feature of the character. Even if you mess up a little, even if you run out of bullets, even if you run out of concentration, one of the supers will fix one of those problems. But of course, meter is extremely precious in Guilty Gear games, so you would much rather not go bust if you can help it. With the pressure string, and a left-right mix-up once again. Oh my god, which way is it coming from? Unless you're familiar with how Happy Chaos's pressure flows, it can be really difficult to defend against stuff like this. Reversal super is good once again, but it's gonna be a hard run back. Even getting like, we were talking earlier how much damage 2 of those per round is gonna deal, but you need a little bit extra in addition to that. And that little bit of extra has been sort of what's been kind of hard for Simppi to get in there. The reversals have been working out, but it's so hard to get in on them, in on Happy Chaos, because Violet is playing so elusively. 6 heavy hits, not the biggest conversion, plus frames from the malfunction. Well, here comes the jump in from Violet once again. Reversal super, yep. Pretty good accuracy, and that actually gives Simppi the life lead. We're not gonna need too much more, and potentially Violet is not gonna get that burst back this round, so Simppi is still in this. Put that bar slash into it. Don't let them escape. This next one definitely has to go in Simppi's favor if this matchup is to still continue. The gunshot slants, Simppi is trying to go airborne. It's really tough when you play a character that would usually like to go airborne, such as Happy Chaos, would really love to use that Marvel vs. Capcom kind of Magneto movement, the eight-way air movement. But you're gonna get shot very fast if you stay airborne, especially stationary, because that gun homes in on you really fast. Usually you would like to run or move around as fast as possible. Misses the air throw, getting counter hit jump slash. However, Simppi misses the air combo, even though he has a lot of vacuum, it has a lot of hit stop. it's still like we are still talking about somebody who hasn't necessarily had the time to experience like a whole lot of games with all of these characters, and those small things matter a lot in, you know, in a game like this. Violet, on their debut match, able to clear it 7-2 against Simppi. Right, and for the next one, so the opponent for Leif is not gonna be guilty this time around, because we did a last-second switch here. It is in fact gonna be Ruby May. Ruby, who seems to have been slithering their way into the event week after week. Let's see. Yeah, Ruby has had a lot of consecutive showings on Bounty Hunters, usually because Ruby is exactly at the sweet spot of, in a really nice sweet spot with her characters, right? Got of course, the usual, Alpha, but also the May, both of which are at like a skill level that a lot of players tend to be, so a really perfect go-to if something goes wrong and somebody has to sort of throw in the towel on a short notice. Yeah, players like Ruby are very sought after in those kind of situations. So that means it is gonna be Bridget versus May. So first time in a while we're gonna see Leif's Bridget, I think. It's been a sin for a very long time, but of course originally Leif is a Bridget main, and I think he has said that he's also, I guess, a little bit more Bridget main in the heart, if I've understood correctly. So we're gonna go back to the roots. There's gonna be a huge discrepancy here in the amount of damage dealt. Because May hits really hard, and I know that Ruby is pretty good with May's execution. So the damage that the opponent can deal here is critical. It's not even if the damage is there, it's when the damage is gonna be there if you get hit. And on the other hand, we have Bridget, who is a little bit more set play oriented, a little bit more control oriented. Doesn't necessarily have the damage, but flows really well if you get to put the opponent down. You can set up the yo-yo. You can have really kind of safe-ish mix-ups. Like, I think a lot of the setups that Bridget will sort of put you in are safe jumps by nature, especially if you go in with the overhead options. And a lot of her setups are pretty DP safe as well, in the way that, like, if you go in with the overhead options, usually the JD options, like, there really isn't an easy gap for your opponent to power through with reversals. Although we are not playing against the DP character today either. Of course, May does have one reversal, but requires 50 meter for that to be a real threat. All right, we have the 6P. Now May, even though she has one of the wimpiest 6Ps, I mean, it still works on the ground. Usually not as well as an anti-air, or rather is a very underwhelming poke as an anti-air because of the amount of damage that she can get from it, which is not very much, surprisingly, considering that she is that character who should be hitting the opponent really, really hard. Ooh, with the mix-ups, going to the other side with a lot of corner carry with this combo. Usually the damage can be a secondary function if your combos just have a lot of corner carry, because every single character, no matter who you play in Guilty Gear Strive, as long as you get the wall, you are probably in your win condition. Ooh, nice 5K there, sticks out the leggy, breaking the incoming S-Dolphin, and that's gonna be a super important feature. Ooh, how did that rolling movement hit? Caught Ruby on the backside, And with a quick cancel, kills the Dolphin. However, here comes Ruby, the premium striker of Guilty Gear Strive. Ooh, I love that. Life is really on top of the RPS on those Dolphins. Not only on S-Dolphin block, but also seems to be on the preemptive side, like preventing the Dolphin from like even coming in. Ooh, double 3K, sliding, slipping under those high-profile pokes of Bridget's. Of course, we all know the power of the far slash, but especially this move that you're seeing on the screen, the 5 heavy from Bridget. One of the best 5 heavies in the game. Look at that range! That is the bully button. That is the button that you would like to be pressing over and over again. Okay, we're gonna have a disconnect here, but yeah, that would be the button, or the kind of button that you would be you would like to press as Bridget as much as possible, because it keeps your opponent far away, allows you to sort of start your pressure strings, keeps the control. The only downside is that, like, a lot of her good buttons are like that. They are vulnerable to low profiling stuff, so things like 6Ps, you know, slide type of moves, stun dipper, elk hunt, that kind of things. 3K from Mei, very vulnerable to moves like that. But at least the 3K, I think the players actually noticed, so we're gonna stand back out of this one. But yeah, especially the 3K is a very limited reach kind of move for Bridget. Sorry for Mei. So Mei will kind of have to fight herself in a position before she gets the whatchamacallit, gets to actually threaten with that move. Hopefully I did this in time. Yeah, it looks like we're good in that regard. I should really learn the the combos of menuing in this game, like how many times you gotta press up or down. Okay, but heading back into it, Leif with a 1-0 lead. But things could, of course, change very fast when it comes to heavy-hitting characters like Mei in the Guilty Gear Strive. Get one big counter hit in, especially with that 5 heavy or similar type of moves. An air counter hit, yeah, all of those can just end the round very fast. The tail of the tape is basically gonna be not just the control on the ground, but control of the air moves. The anti-air capabilities of the Bridget player are gonna be put to test, because Mei is gonna approach you from the sky. It is the kind of character that is, it's not optional. I think it's like every Mei player is gonna go airborne at some point, because it's one of the strongest points of this character, has always been. And now locked in the set play situation. Ooh, nice smash with the 5P when the Rock the Baby is coming. I wonder if Ruby just committed into it, because Mei does have a really good standing P. 4 frame, basically her primary anti-air as well, so could tell that Leif was in the air in that mix-up situation. Of course, you could make it fairly tight and not let the opponent press buttons in those situations. Now back throw into a slip. Oh my god, that was a really quick cross-up. Into was probably trying to hit confirm that 3K, but the situation was a little iffy. Now we got the prey wherever, or rather, in just about the place where we wanted him. Stop sign. Ooh, okay. And then sinking another stick of butter there into the Kickstart My Heart RC, which is another very classic way for a Bridget to start forcing things. And forcing things is the way to go, especially in this game state where both your and the opponent's life is slowly running out. Ooh, look at that! Oh my god, that button is so good. The 2 heavy reaches everywhere. That was up Dolphin that was almost about to pass over Leif's head, but still, the 2 heavy reaching that kind of place. And another button that reaches, yep, you guessed it, 5 heavy. That starts this situation. I think that was a... yeah, that was a passive yo-yo set, but... Ruby did get a hit in there. That was a nice trade for Leif there momentarily. Was able to put Ruby in the corner, but Not gonna stay there for very long. Drops the combo, never mind, just a reset into a close slash pressure. And one of the best characters in the game to run that close slash pressure as well. As Mei is one of the luckiest characters who do have a +3 close slash, which is a small peculiarity. Only a handful of characters have that in this game. So just like Soul Bad Guy, Giovanna, Mei. Potemkin actually has a +4 one. It's a special case. But anyway, moving on. That was so tricky. Kinda looking like was threatening with the rolling movement cross up, then coming back to the front side. Ruby has been able to get the hit. Damage inbound, and damage indeed comes through. A combo that would take usually, I think, at least half of your opponent's life. Just ends up decimating whenever counter hit. However, Mei usually prefers the opponent to be airborne as well from those air-to-air counter hits. Those are the sort of playmakers, the hits that bring the bread home. But same goes for Bridget actually. Her jump slash does get the, especially from a counter hit situation, gets really nice conversions, full screen, decent damage as well. Look at this. That was actually nothing to scoff at in terms of like how much damage Bridget usually tends to do. Oh, Ruby was reading that, and that's for your life as well. It's slightly unfortunate because Leif was just about to get his burst back, but no. Ruby says, we're gonna guess now, and we're gonna commit to that guessing game as well.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
Alright, the split going in immediately, and then the hit is, before the 50 tension is available for Mei, she is kind of reliant for some hits to burn that Wild Assault. But at the same time, she is one of the best characters with that Wild Assault in the game as well. Really good coast-to-coast conversions, really good damage, usually guaranteeing a wall break. Ooh, slice under. I guess that works, because you have limited mobility, or rather limited reach for that 3K. So what you're actually doing is the 3K is the invulnerability portion of the attack, and then you RC it with your 50 meter, and then punish the recovery of Bridget's slow move. Because those bar slashes, those 5 heavies, are technically fireball functions, are they not? So they also have the sort of corresponding recovery to go with those. Missing with those is really crucial. Alright, doubles it up into more pressure. Leif. First, build 100, then start spending. Start spending when the opponent is about to go down. Textbook round here. That's how we usually play. Not just Guilty Gear, but fighting games in general, classically. First build and then start burning. I guess that's more of a Guilty Gear thing, because like in every single Guilty Gear game, when you spend RC, you're gonna put into a meter build penalty, and in the follow-up situation, it's gonna be much harder to build more meter back. But that kind of situation has changed a bit in Strive, because you have exactly this, the wall break that gives you positive bonus that does not care if you are in meter build penalty or not usually that much, or rather, it would just override it. With 6P, those anti-airs have to be on point. The gold burst unfortunately gets nothing, but at least it was not punished. But now it would be so nice to get that, have that burst ready to go. Are we gonna get super? Yes, indeed, and that's gonna be just enough. Mei is one of the sort of, even though she is a female character, and female characters have been historically the lowest health characters usually in Guilty Gear games, Mei tends to be Mei is a fairly high EHP character in Strive. Ooh, we were able to actually frame trap the startup of the up dolphin there into rather big damage as well. Half of Ruby's life is gone here, and the 2 heavy with the active frames sort of generating a huge wall of red that the dolphin shall not pass, as a famous wizard once said. But now, a quick reversal, quick equalizer of the situation. Look at Leif's resources though. Let's just choose to burn here. If we get an opportunity to do so, we have the reversal super, but of course we also have the standard DP, which will be your meterless reversal option. Switching sides, Ruby, are we gonna super? That was not a safe jump this time. So the first, I think it was the first reversal out of pressure situations for Ruby. at a very, very opportune time as well, because that ends up just getting the round immediately. A little bit of the fish RPS, the S version, very minus, the heavy version, very plus. So you better know your options in those kind of situations. Not just the pre, but also, sorry, not just the post-block situation, but also the pre-block situation, so that you can prevent stuff like the heavy dolphin coming in and printing those plus frames. But now speaking of those plus frames, we're using that yo-yo setup to generate a very, very long-lasting pressure situation. You gotta be really patient against Bridget a lot of the times, because her block strings are super, super long. She can actually make all of that airtight as well if she wants, but generally, oh, nice snipe there! I think I saw the startup of 3K, so preventing that low profiling move going online. Starting with a 3K once again. Understandable. We were talking about those low profile frames and how useful they are against Bridget. Not just the standing pokes, but also the yo-yo tosses. Oh, that's a counter hit! How much life are you gonna miss? Around half there. Trade into Leif, desperately trying to get out of that corner situation. It's not gonna happen, though. The killer whale will do the deed and put Ruby once again in the leading position, but not by much. Not by very much at all. They've been going back to back so far. But the concerning thing, of course, is May is May, and when May starts winning, the games could start racking in Ruby's favor really, really fast. Whereas, you know, there is no two-touch kills for Bridget, right? You don't just oopsie the opponent. You have to stay patient, you have to stay very precise, and you gotta grind them down slowly. Another double 3K, and waits out the DP from Leif. Lots of damage. Not a wall break. I wonder if that was actually on purpose there to leave Leif there without taking wall. Once again with the 5 heavy, checking the opponent. And if there's like around this much spacing between the players, the 3K is gonna be kind of useless. Like, sure, you may be able to slide under the initial active frames of like 5 heavy, but then what? You're still like fairly far away. Dash blocking forward. However, even after all of that, Leif was ready to unleash the 6B. That's one of the most important. Oh, nice early movement! Going over the 3K of Maze and crushing it this time. Yamini can play this game. And able to prevent the Dolphin from going online as well. Ruby feels like this is the time to burst. We have 50 meter after all, and that means any hit is gonna turn into a big combo. Leif sees the second 3K coming in. We're just gonna DP it this time around. But here comes May through the skies. Oh, big counter. This is in the corner as well. Is it dead? Fully charged 5, so 6-7. Yes, indeed, maximum damage. Even if we didn't have the super, May is a damage machine. Whoa. But the control once again on the Leif side, putting out that too heavy. It's very important that you don't miss with that too heavy from Bridget, because that is definitely on the slower side of recovery, but it is a huge button. So Wise Man once said, why are you missing with this, or rather, why are you whiffing with this huge ass button? But I guess the massive reach is kind of like horizontal, so it's, sorry, not horizontal, vertical. Oh man, are we gonna have a disconnect again? I was seeing a little bit of a little bit of staggering between the rounds, which would indicate that the connection is not necessarily the cleanest possible, which usually also makes Strive Earth happen fairly often. But in a 3-3 even situation, honestly, if I had to put money on one of these players, I'm not sure at this point which one is gonna be. Neither even has a momentum lead going into this. I mean, especially since the sort of a little bit of the momentum is gonna die here, right? Because we have to ice the players for a second. Oh, okay. God, I'm so fucking bad with this execution. I'm a player, not a TO at heart. I rarely have to navigate through the menus. Says the TO who has been running this for, what, 7 years by now? Anyway, from a 3-3 situation, anything could happen here. Is it gonna be the control and the blender of Bridget, or is it gonna be the raw damage that could be sent at the opponent at any moment? With 50 meter, even those dolphins are gonna be a little bit of a problem. Like raw dolphins from like half screen away. Although, I think Leif has been dealing magnificently with the random dolphins. You can see from Ruby that you're not quite playing the sort of confident, just send it kind of gameplay that you often see from Mei players, because a lot of those options have been just countered by Leif. Ooh, interesting. With the Roger dive, generating another huge hitbox. Now, Ruby does have 50 meter in the tank, but the opponent is also fully healthy. Sees the 3K, counters it with the DP once again. Ooh, and look at that, perfectly on the landing, backs off so that there is no angle with which Ruby could actually jump in. Waits for the landing, and then snipes it with a 5 heavy. Oh, but here comes a very high angle, instant air dash into a counter hit. Missing the big. Oh! No, not gonna need tension for that one. 5 heavy. Very massive meterless damage. But for the other hits, you know, if you're doing something like 2S Dolphin, / Dolphin, stuff like that, you are gonna need the meter to cancel out of it. Such as like this. Yeah, those conversions usually not gonna happen, especially, like, I guess on the grounded opponent you could do like a counter hit Dolphin into, what is it, dash into overhead kiss. I think that's the usual route. Ooh, and right from the get-go, the Wild Assault conversion drops it just at the end. And the trade causes there to be massive gains for Leif in terms of real estate, but just doesn't seem to be able to get any use out of that, for Ruby is ruthless. And if we're not at neutral, if the frame advantage is not on Leif's side, Ruby has been pretty good at being... Ooh, wait for the burst. The burst never comes. The RPS. Yeah, if that burst was unleashed, it would have been over right there. So kind of good call there for Leif to hold it. But on the other hand, to be able to utilize what you had left, would have probably had to get the pressure going on, because it's so hard to use the blue burst in that kind of situation. We just don't have any life left to spend. Good 2 heavy snipe once again. Ruby trying to air dash out of the corner. Leif says no. Yep, that's gonna be a punish. If you're too close with that 3K and no meter in the tank, it's gonna be kind of like, whatchamacallit, stun dipper in a sense. Ah, nice shimmy there, backdash into, making sure that we indeed are gonna bring this to the wall and kill. RC, super, just send it all. Just burn it all, get the opponent out of there. Right, trade, but this time in Ruby's favor, still able to get the 6P in there and reverse the momentum going forward. Use the blue Wild Assault, which is able to get uncontested yo-yo set there. Yeah, before there's any sort of mishaps with the yo-yo that was set, before there is an accidental wall break, Leif goes into the super slightly prematurely, and that's a good choice. We have so many resources. Ruby will probably have to burst out of there, or... Do they? Do they? No burst. We're saving it for the next round. Optimally. But we'll have to burst out of this one. Yep. Unfortunately, ain't gonna be able to save it. Tried to swing with the 5 heavy. However, Leif had the advantage in terms of meter. Especially characters like Bridget, who have a kind of like, alright, I'm gonna put a stop into this neutral immediately. Such as, you know, the Roger super. Could be also the likes of Bike and Gun Super, or Joker Trick from Johnny, or Keeper of the Key from Abba, especially in Jealous Rage mode. Supers like that can... Oh, holy shit! What was that? Counter it on the extended limb? Dowsing type of shit here? Being the counter play from Ruby. I didn't even know that you could do that. I guess you would have to be poking rather prematurely and be like at the perfect spacing for that to be good. Because I think for the most part, it is not disjointed like a lot of those yo-yo pokes like far slash and 5 heavy. Maybe at the tip, but if we're just raw disjoint versus disjoint, May's 5 heavy will always take the cake, right? Move with the Roger dive to the other side. A little bit tricky here. Kickstart break at the perfect distance. However, trying to find the last hit is not going to be able to do so. Up Dolphin is what chews Leif out of there. Nice 5k once again. It was interesting. Usually the 5k has been there to prevent the Dolphin from getting there at all, but this time actually whiffed punish it from the perfect distance. And overhead, the classic jump D sinks in, which means more set play inbound. Tried to go for the stagger 2k, a little bit of a mistake there. Lots of things happened, and perhaps the wall break, or rather the wall stick coming in at a very inopportune time. But now, with a positive bonus, we could have another Roger Super, or maybe a YRC. We're gonna have to see what Leif chooses to defend with. The option is DP, which maintains, as long, like, it's always, if you can maintain your meter options, then it's better to solve the current problem. Ooh, wow, that thought. We get a big counter hit here. This will be most of Leif's life. Into, yep, the bigger hidden super. God, that's still so much damage, even though it has been nerfed so many times in a row, and even though it's like more in line with the other super like hard-hitting characters of the game at the moment, you always still have to, you have to be scared of it, or you have to be in awe, whether, like, depending on if you're a player or if you're a viewer, it always hurts just as much. Coming in with the jump D, the yo-yo is set. Ruby smartly wasting time in the air as much as possible so that they don't have to deal with the yo-yo, and then sticking out the disjoint at the perfect distance. That is the kind of distance that you would love to be as May. Not quite like, kind of like a couple of character lengths away, not close enough so that like P and K buttons that can reach you, but so that your heavy and S buttons will still reach the opponent. And like, the core of Bridget is that her buttons are, of course, kind of slow on startup, so you want to have that little bit of distance between you and your opponent if possible. Right, forcing the, ooh, trying to backdash out of there. That's gonna be a no-no. Counter hit from the jump D as well. Won't be, like, won't have the time because of the fast pace of the situation. Didn't have time to cancel into the super, but now it might be doubly better here because we have technically a checkmate situation. No burst from Ruby. Yeah, at this point, I think with this little sliver of health, you can't really, like, if you're optimizing, if you're playing smartly, you can't really go for that burst, right? So sort of smartly try to go for the comeback using only the 50 meter in terms of Wild Assault, I think that was. Ooh, nice, perfect timing and angle between the 5 heavies. It's sort of infamously difficult to whiff punish kind of move. It's, oh, is it gonna reach? Yes, indeed. 2S doesn't have that much disjoint, if I recall correctly, from, oh my god, again, look at that god poke. However, I think Ruby was just too far to get any sort of combo without the full counter hit. The counter hit 5 heavy is what you're usually looking for. Now forcing the situation high-low. Interesting, I think got hit there initially from that jump slash, but then Leif was not able to fully combo into or rather not get the full combo out of it. But gotta leave that kind of stuff behind. We are in this moment right here, and we are counter hitting the opponent. In fact, putting them in the corner. Scoot close, the kara cancel into super. Won't get the full damage, I think, when there's like the full damage of that petty super depends on sort of like where your opponent is in contrast to you. Here we go, the burst has to come out. Oh no! Oh, okay. There's a lot of stuff that happened here. So I think Leif probably misinputted the YRC, but still was, I think was able to, like, because the Yeah, oh my god, I don't even know how to sort of deconstruct that situation. Let's just say a lot of stuff happened, and what happens in FT7 stays in FT7. We don't talk about that afterwards, or maybe we do. Oh, good 6p. So there's a couple of different options that you can utilize against that up dolphin if the opponent tries to sort of take plus frames there. You could take a small step forward and make May cross you up, or you could just fire a good anti-air. Either one works. On the May side, oh, misses the fully charged 6 heavy. So now Leif still has a chance. Punish? No, maybe that was perfectly spaced there. So the frame advantage or how minus you are on May depends on what spacing you use that move, just like Kickstart My Heart from Bridget. Alright. Going for a little bit of a more defensive play here. Ruby building distance between the characters, but catches! During the backdash recovering animation, sees that there is indeed full punishes to be had here, so just slides in there with another 3k. Ooh. Oh, that's a good sequence for Ruby, and this is technically a set point, no, this is actually not a set point situation. I thought it's still 5-5, so no sweat, right? If I've counted correctly. The red Blindsel just straight up kills there in the middle of the combo. The initial hits dealing so much raw damage for May that the opponent was just boom gone before we could even reach the wall. So if I haven't miscounted, that would be 6 for Ruby.
Duel 1.
So one more for Team May, or alternatively, Leif will have to pull out 2 wins in a row. Both situations as likely to happen in my books, considering the contents of the match here. Keeping the good spacing with the 5 heavy. Ooh, but Scooter straight into the 5 heavy. I think that's kind of one of the reasons why Scooter is not as utilized maybe in this matchup, because he is kind of dangerous. Like putting yourself in that range where May potentially gets to play, or maybe puts you in a situation where you might run yourself into May's numerous active frames. It's a gamble if you choose to do that. Ooh, tries to whiff punish, but a little too far. One more hit. Anything is good. Yo-yo is good. Send the aggressive version, or either the version, the yo-yo toss that hits on the way in, or on the way out rather. Getting a small touch there with the 5 heavy, not counter hits though. So they're gonna be sort of equivalent to May's other pokes in a way. We have the meter to cash out here though. Misses the combo, so Leif technically still has a chance, but will have to play it perfectly. Even yeah, I was about to say, even like a jab sequence is gonna be enough for Ruby to seal the deal, and needs one more to seal the whole shebang. For this is first set point for Ruby. Let's see if Leif is able to play his way out of this one. Tried to backdash, got caught by the dolphin, but still the backdash is able to build enough distance so that the 5 heavy is at its perfect active range. Force it. Backdash will be caught by the set play. And we have the meter as well. But so far so good. Now Leif, from this hard knockdown situation, needs only one, but gotta be careful. We have the reversal super option available for May. Oh, reads it! The RC sees it coming from a mile away. Big damage, but Ruby is also looking for that one more hit. There we go! The burst comes out just in time. And the trade from so far away is gonna be good for Leif. Generally, those trades are, I would like to say, in May's favor, but it's a rare kind of situation. Oh, is it 7 already? Did I miscount? A rare kind of situation where those trades are gonna be actually in the opponent's favor because of the Leif situation. Okay, I think Leif set needs a small breather here, which is of course okay. This is all or nothing kind of situation. It all comes down to this. They've been going back to back for basically the whole set. The player on the front seat has sort of shifted a couple of times. It's been Leif who's been in the lead, it's been Ruby who's in the lead, and currently nobody has the lead. Especially after this one. The trademark breathing break from Leif in order to gather himself for the last, literally the last boss battle here. one more to take it over. The really super last-minute switch was supposed to fight Sol, but ended up fighting against Mei. I mean, some could ask, what's the difference? Both characters deal a shit ton of damage, are premium strikers, and can pounce at you from really, really far away. But now, it all comes down to this. Ruby playing on their side character, which is technically, I guess nowadays, like, very close to their elf ult in power rankings.
So instead of reflecting on themselves,
And then Leif. We've seen so many times on that Sin, but coming back on that Bridget Leif, it would be big for either player. The storyline will unfold here. This will be the last page of the book.
versus May.
Who is the history gonna remember as the villain, and who is the hero? We're gonna choose it here. Nice whip punish right off the bat. Like we mentioned earlier, whipping that too heavy, very, very dangerous business. Its recovery is immense. First, that's being used by Ruby. The backwards air movement, protecting his airspace. And this cash out, oh, it's gonna put Leif in such a good resource situation. Only downside is that no heart knockdown, so Ruby will technically get a chance to play here. No chance though, and Leif will go potentially into a checkmate attempt here. Opponent having half less resources in the burst meter than Leif does. Ooh, that's a good instant air dash jump slash. Starts the sequence. Set play. Here we come. Blocks the overheads. And then the block string that ensued afterwards. The two heavy ones again putting a stop to Ruby's corner escape plans. No bursting out of this one. This is actually going to be big. Potentially one hit away. If it's a close slash starter, it could be it. But if it is, Ruby is going to have a chance to burst out. Here's the bait. And it comes out just in the nick of time, but now can't take a single hit. Oh, slides under though! The 3K! The MVP that has won so many situations, so many RPS situations for Ruby, puts Leif through the wall with a massive combo. One more. Oh, didn't hit the 50 meter! That would have been the kill! It was so close! Ruby had the positive bonus. If only the positive bonus gave them the 50 meter, it would have been it. But alas, that is one of the downsides, one of the weaknesses of Mei. She can't hit confirm those dolphins unless 50 meter. It is so crucial. So that dolphin just ends up not doing anything other than taking a little bit of life out of Leif's gauge. And just like that, it's so close. That little, it was just like 5 tension or something. I was looking at the meter, it was so close. But, you know, that's usually how the best storylines end up unfolding. It was that close. But my opponent took it in the end. 7-6, what a match. Who would have thought, even though this was a last-second switcherino, an excellent matchup for the second slot match of the evening. All right. No time to waste. We got more games to play. And the next one is going to be Phantomicious, the player who got denied the pleasure of finishing their debut match last week is going to come back this time against one of our Iron regulars, HiWill Bedman. HiWill, of course, has a couple of different characters, but has basically been settling for Bedman. As the primary character for a little while. For a little while now. And it's gonna be big body to big body conversation here. Nago to Yuki. Yeah, it doesn't really get much more big body than this, right? Unless if it was maybe, I don't know, Gold Lewis on the screen. Oh yeah, what's our ID tonight? Is it this one? Pretty sure it's this one. Yeah, so Nagoriyuki, of course, that character who starts at empty blood bar at the start of the round, which means there are numerous dangerous neutral skips available. Beyblade, as well as also all sorts of combinations of Hukyo into clone. Could just cut your way in there if the opponent is not like at the perfect spacing. And then Bedman, who we did see earlier. And now we're gonna double it a couple of skill tiers as well. HiWill, probably gonna see more of that set play, which is generally like a little bit harder to get into, because depending on your execution. HiWill has been playing Bedman for quite some time now, so should basically know the ins and outs for how to get into those best victory conditions for this character. I think luckily, because like it's a huge boon against Nagoriyuki if you can play from afar. And Bedman does have some zoning capabilities. Those will usually come online when Nago goes full blood. Around that time when Nago simply can't reposition himself anymore, where Fukyo is gonna be too expensive for you to utilize, that's sort of the time when zoners start to get the massive advantage, right? Characters like Testament, maybe a little bit of Bedman, even though Bedman is not really like a zoning character by heart by any means. Axel, that kind of characters start to be able to do their stuff more suddenly when you don't have to worry about especially Beyblade. Do we have Phantomicious though? Talking so much smack that I haven't even been following the chat on the Discord side. I picked the right player, right? I'm pretty sure I did, right? Yeah, should be the right person. The downside of having streamer mode enabled nowadays just prevents you from seeing like anybody's name. Okay, we got Phantomicious on the way. So T-minus 2 minutes or something for the big brawl. It's actually, I might actually enjoy matchups more where it's not two characters who are just brawling and scrambling, because Bedman is a character who, I don't want to say like takes more finesse, but takes more sort of, you have to set things up a little bit more. Bedman is definitely a character that's gonna take a little bit more time. There's an interesting dichotomy between a character who's probably one of the strongest characters in the game for just having a lot of power level immediately. Because you could compare the sort of the usefulness of empty blood to having meter. Because like blood burn options are kind of like metered options if you think about it. They're so strong. So in a way, you could argue that Nagoriyuki starts with all of their conditions fulfilled already at the start, and as the round progresses, you're gonna lose some of those. Opportunities, and then gain alternative ones in return. It's a very, very interesting character in terms of like how the sort of game state is altered depending on what happens on the screen. How much blood you spend, how much like everything you have left.
Mankind knew that they
But yeah, HiWill will have to sort of, I guess every character that plays against Nagoriyuki will have to survive that initial onslaught, that part of the set, or rather that part of the round where Nagoriyuki has all of those options available. Nice pipe beat, but to stop the HiWill's 8-way air movement. Done with a couple zoning shots. It's of course when you start getting into this like slightly higher, like past half blood territory, that's when like Nagoriyuki will have to start to think a little, how am I gonna spend the rest of the blood? Because eventually we're gonna need more of that blood back. Tries to go for another one. Too greedy. No 2 cookies, only 1 cookie at a time. What did Mama tell you? But Phantomicious is like, fuck that. I'm gonna break the whole jar. Ooh, wait a second. Wait, huh? Was that a far slash that caught the backwards Fukyo? It must have been cancelled into something. That was a very particular catch there at the round start. But now we are at that half blood situation again where you could still see decent blood burn. Ooh, that's a trade! Ooh, the clone draws so much blood. Luckily, Phantomicious was able to get a couple of heavy slices in there, which are some of the highest blood draining moves. Would this get hit? Yeah, of course it does. Like the jump D from Bedman, like, still doesn't really have any disjoint whatsoever, if I recall correctly. Shoving yourself into that big super, and the 2 heavy slice there, slicing and dicing Bedman out of that air movement. Air mobility is so important for this character, has always been, because Bedman's basic RPS usually is putting yourself in an air position where the opponent can't really reach you with anti-airs, but where you can sort of abide your time, choose to delay, and then come down from an angle and with a timing that your opponent just can't predict. However, you're fighting Nagoriyuki here. Ooh, nice combo into the blood pop. Misses 5k here, but no problem. We're gonna get that value back here shortly as the blood gauge has been refreshed. Ooh, good blocks here, and then a 6p to end the sequence here. And now we have so much juice to burn. We're gonna go into another pop. Boom. And... ah, that would have been a kill. That's unfortunate. If that hit landed, it would have built enough tension for Phantomicious to go for the big baseball bat, spend everything and kill the opponent. But alas, the Nagoriki players keep talking about how so very important it is to land that normal after the blood pop. And usually I think people tend to favor like lighter buttons in order to make it a little bit more consistent. But I mean, more damage is always more damage, right? And now, ooh, straight into the best position to swing that close slash. But now Phantomicious could be in a little bit of trouble. Has only maybe 1 or 2 blood burn options available. Oh, here we go. Into the Okizeme, waiting for the reversal super, which does not come out. HiWill instead choosing to poke with the 2P, which is probably one of the best 2Ps in the game. Samurai Mix! Oh, we're just gonna go for it! And it works out for Phantomicious again! Are you fucking kidding me? That was such a risk. That time, because Phantomicious committed into the Samurai Mix, he needed to hit in a particular timing. He needed a particular juggle to get that hit in. If you just get a normal overhead, it's not good enough. You're just gonna OTG pop, probably. 6 heavy? Oh, too heavy. A dangerous move. We were talking about the dangers of too heavy for Bridget. Nagoriyuki is the same. There is, I think, exactly one second of recovery for that move. With the jump Ds and then the air combos. We're gonna set up a very good situation. Phantomicious knows I'm not gonna deal with any of that, especially since HiWill was crossing over to the wall side. Excellent position to use. Oh, who held it the most? Or rather, who pressed it the last? I think both players were charging that White Wild Assault to increase the amount of input frames that you have to power through. But it must have been HiWill who inputted first, because I think the frame data is identical, right? Or is it? I want to say it is, which would mean that Phantomicious was the player to input it after HiWill's was already starting up. But now in the corner, oh, got that head hit. Unfortunately, the wall had taken so much damage already, so the party was cut short there. A little bit of blood burn will put Phantomicious around half blood state, and now with the install, threatening a lot of chip damage. Ooh, I like that. I guess the other option is to threaten with the incoming install follow-ups, but then instead be like, ha, never mind, I'm gonna go in. Because the follow-up is still stored in you, right? It's still ticking down, so you could use that threat as an opportunity to go forward. I mean, you could still release it at any time by using the special move that starts the error immediately if you have it stored. Ooh, okay. That's a lot of blood coming back from those blocks. And then through the wall we go. Phantomicious, ready to burn blood potentially. Waits out the... Ooh, very patient there. Even though the white wild assault on block is quite minus. Was able to press buttons afterwards. Let's see, was it a safe jump? I think HiWill landed. One thing that does is it took out the error that HiWill had stored because it was forced to block, but I mean, I guess you happily take the punish damage in exchange for your error getting interrupted, right? Yeah, the buttons from Bedman being, I guess, maybe even perfect for this matchup. I haven't studied it that much. Oh, the tricky jump cancel. And then ended with malfunction. I think that does not... Or wait, does it? Does it give you the error on the next screen? I'm actually not sure. But it kind of looked like it did. Good interruption here. The error gets cut short. The second hit of DP lands as an overhead. And now Phantomicious time to burn it. Oh, we are in a tough situation here. Ooh, interesting. So the wild assault hit and the error ended up resolving immediately, like simultaneously. So they kind of canceled each other. But then the follow-up, yeah, Phantomicious was quite low health there. So that was the most dangerous critical factor. Just not having the life to power through the neutral play that sometimes forces you to take chip damage. I mean, I think Bedman is one of those characters who can force a little bit of chip damage on you if they so desire. With patience here, waits for the burst, goes for the big one, drops it, but maybe it was a... Was it a premeditated drop? Went for a third one. Phantomicious, absolute mad lad. Even though HiWill... Oh, okay, we're committing. We're popping for this. Oh, but it doesn't end up mattering because we got the hit as well. And I think it was a heavy slice as well. So it was just at the precipice of, is it like too dangerous to go for this or not? But looks like Phantomicious is definitely representing the school of, even if it's high risk, it's also high reward. I mean, when you're basically trying to checkmate for the round win, when you need only one, I mean, maybe it's worth the risk. You're the one who makes the decision as a player. Yeah, good response there. Sees the white wild assault, knows that the go-to counterplay to that is to throw the opponent, and with their slowed down frames, won't be able to do much about it. You can utilize that RPS even without the RC slowdown. Technically, if the opponent is charging their wild assault. When they charge it, it has... Oh, but this time I think that was a non-charged one. So showing us the variability in the RPS. Because if you don't charge that wild assault, it starts so fast that it's like borderline impossible to react to. But if they do charge, yes, it is gonna power through a lot of things, and yes, it will get you a combo, but it is also reaction throwable. So you have to kind of balance, like choose which one of those options you want to represent, or which one of those features you want for your wild assault. Let's put it like that. Ooh, recognize that there was an OTG available with an extra blood burn here. Phantomicious. Oh, but here we go. White wild assault fully charged will power through even the clone Fukyo, which is like famously one of the most unfuckwithable moves in the game. I guess because white wild assault costs burst resources, it's better do something. It better do something for sure. Here's the pop. Starting with the 6 heavy. I think the biggest starter is it even better? I think maybe the fully charged 6 heavy is actually the preferable party starter for Bedman rather than the standard close slash. I mean, Bedman is definitely not a standard character either, so that would check out. Sneaking in there with a third one? Not this time. Yeah. I was like, no way he's gonna play the same. He set the expectations that there is gonna be multi-bites and then plays the strike option. But I think I saw like an FD flash from HiWill, so was probably like smartly trying to fuzzy jump out of that situation and not Not trying to fuck with it too much. Right, Gold Burst. Last-ditch effort for Will. Activate all the resources to get as much chance to winning this, but the downside is the dangerous thing is Phantomicious has so much life. And unless you... Ooh, we're gonna checkmate. Do we get it all right? Low? High? Will fucks all of it! Yo! That was a true... Oh, at the end, like, we're not gonna get that because Phantomicious had the burst there, but that was a great defense. Technically, that is the only threatening kind of samurai mix where a single overhead can kill you, right? Because the overhead will instantly down you. There is not gonna be any sort of combos for Nagoriyuki. If you're just crouching, if you're force crouching and letting that overhead hit you, Nago's gonna die, right? They can't get a combo out of it. But if you're so low that the overhead would kill you, that makes it a situation like the same as it has always been. Guess for your life. And now HiWill might be guessing for his life once again. Huh? What happened there? The movement, the air movement from Bedman is just so fast. 8-way movement, actually making the jump slash whiff there. I wonder if that was a conscious decision. If so, great RPS read. But another good RPS read coming in the form of Phantomicious' reversal super, and that might be enough. Yes, indeed. Not missing the RC follow-up either. That was actually required because Bedman is such a heavy boy, or such a heavy machine. A little bit of zoning and then trying to take that air into close range pressure, but it's sort of the jumping straight into that too heavy. Phantomicious unfortunately drops the combo, and here comes HiWill with that big jump slash, vacuuming it in. Lots of damage. This is Nagoriyuki we're talking about after all, even though it is level 2, so taking quite a lot of extra damage here at this point. Ooh, the FRC was able to get a 5D tap in, but just not having enough resources to follow that afterwards. Now we'll have to guess for it. Goes for it. I think it looked like for a moment Phantomicious wanted to go for the samurai mix-up, but because they were able to get such a good hit there on an airborne opponent, they had time to hit confirm. Okay, I don't need to do this. I can just deviate from the plan and go for a normal combo instead. Ooh, okay. Tried to throw after seeing the wild assault. So I think maybe was trying to counter a non-charged wild assault afterwards. Unsure. Oh, good reversal super. Not only does that get Phantomicious off of you, but it technically makes the Nagoriyuki lose the blood that they spend on that approach as well. Lots of damage. Life situation, or rather the blood situation, sets around 2 bars here. Would Phantomicious actually burst out of this? I think there is a universe where it does not, but there is also a universe where we could still maybe play. There is technically, like, you could spend Clone Fukyo and then make the opponent guess for their life on the last hit, but I think the safe play is to save that burst for next round. Okay, plus frames. Naughty, tried to press a button. Ooh, but too close. I think there was a tap dust there. Ventured a little bit too close to the sun. Nagoriyuki, after all, has that extended throw range. Ooh, nice whip punish. Or rather, I guess Nagoriyuki would swing that button anyway. But good on Phantomicious for being at the right distance there to make the buttons for HiWill whip. Alright, bouncy. Not gonna have a hard knockdown here. Maybe that was exactly why HiWill dropped the combo, so that we could maintain this superior position. Smart decision making. Frame traps into the haymaker. But in the end, it doesn't flow. It doesn't flow well enough. That looked really good, like a good situation for Will for a moment. The high commit Beyblade frame trap. Ooh, cool. Delaying the air momentum by using the error stall. Right here, but of course it is in Will's favor in a way, because the opponent is still in the corner. The head bouncer into a super hard knockdown here. Will has a good chance to start juggling the resources. Wants to actually play a little bit more safer, I think. YRC works out. We're gonna get the plus frames. Ooh, Ooh, okay, that works. I'm unsure if Will had already queued up that White Wild Assault before the Blood Pop sort of flashed or not. But either way, that definitely works out. Wait, how does it interact? So if there's a Blood Pop and there is fully charged White Wild Assault Invo frames, it's gonna go through the pop, right? Yeah. So maybe that was the reasoning. It's like, all right, I only need one hit. It doesn't matter which hit, so I might as well charge this, and there is nothing you can do about it. Ooh, extra bounce there. Not only got the jump slash, but also the bomb head error. Good time. Or maybe that was actually not good for Phantomicious, because that was a lot of blood that you spent on that interception. Without being able to get more than... I mean, you won a little bit of real estate, so we also have to calculate that in. The 5k drop, oh my god! Routing into FRC 6 heavy has to be one of the most ghetto-looking combos, but it is a real deal for those heavy slashes. Do so much damage when Nagoriyuki is on high blood. It's almost like a super. Oh my god, the bomb head was already in the air, but he goes for the throw. YRC charges up 6 heavy, definitely plus frames, but what are we gonna do now? Ooh, that's a tragedy. The error is gone now. And not only that, Phantomicious is pushing offense, trying to go for another bite again, but Will is awake this time. Lots of blood into those highs and lows, but not enough to make the pop happen. Next couple of seconds are gonna be crucial. Phantomicious tries to force the way in, jumping, super jumping. Here comes Will, nice block, and again the same situation occurs where Will comes down with the jump D, then goes for I think what looks like an F Shiki, and then Phantomicious blocks that and immediately queues up 6B afterwards, and it works out. Yeah, it's gonna be quite minus, so Will taking their turn, predicting that there isn't gonna be a last bar slash of that sequence. Pushing through that wall. A big hit in terms of that 6 heavy, and a decent amount of blood sucked back as well. Blood return, I guess. White Wild Assault is still the king when it comes to challenging the opponent's buttons. Back throw! That is crucial, that is critical. Now Will needs some sort of miracle to get out of it. The bite, oh my god, even the samurai mix-up is an option. Everything was stacked against Will after that back throw. And it's such a common thing to happen against Nagoriyuki, right? Because like, you learn this game by knowing where the standard throw range is, and then you're of course playing sort of interesting situation. Both players utilizing the Wild Assault. And then the back throw. Oh, the back throw. Once again, Phantomicious pulling out all the stops in the second debut match of Phantomicious on Bounty Hunters, and looking so far so good. We need one more game. We are at 6. What's HiWill gonna say about that? We're gonna say 2P out of this ghetto-ass string, which has a gap. Oh, that's a lot of corner carry. Wait, was that was without... That was without RC as well, or was there an RC? I think it was RC. But one opportunity, opponent is at low health, and Nagoriyuki, one of the best characters in the game, for shaving off that last pixel. And here goes, 40% of your life. Set point, that's gonna be minus, yep. Wait, that's actually a punish? Wait, is that, no way, that's not -5, right? So, it means I'm sure. Anyway. HiWill with the wall break. Both players have so much reason. Oh my god! Swing with the DP! We're gonna go to the pop! Drop! Oh, that's gonna cost a lot! Be careful. He sees it, right? He sees it, right? I'm like, I'm sweating here, Will. You're seeing this. You're seeing this blood bar, right? Don't shove yourself into it. I beg of you. The White Wild Assault once again, one of the MVPs. You would think that a character like Bedman doesn't need it that much, but oh, he actually do. It's actually like such a core part of his game plan, because you sometimes need to force things with that error active. Speaking of which, Ooh, this is crucial for Phantomicious. You're trying to make sure that Will doesn't use any of that install super if possible. Install is gone. Overhead hits. Yep, that oh, knocks down instantly. And I think that's it if you don't drop it. And why would you drop it? Why would you? Phantomicious on their second debut match on Bounty Hunter puts his name on the leaderboard with a really flashy Nuggle play. I gotta say, I have appreciation both for the very patient, fundamental Nagaryukis, but also the Nuggle players who aren't really scared to have fun sometimes, to, you know, just go all in sometimes. It's super fun to watch when there's like a really, when it's thought out, when you don't just commit every single time, but sort of judge the situation, how much life, how much meters, how much everything, how likely am I to get this win if I commit here? What am I risking? And you know when it looks good. The best players know when to commit to that. Okay. Moving on, more high-level gameplay coming in. Rygand with the side hustle character. That is sort of, the plan here is, I think for Rygand is, if we can take this character to higher levels, Rygand is of course at heart, first and foremost, a competitor. And I think recently Rygand has sort of realized that, fuck character loyalty. I wanna win. I wanna play with the most power that I can get, and at the moment, Sin looks like, you know, looks like kind of a character that you would pick if you look at the roster and you're like, okay, so who's the easiest top tier character to play? If you sort of examine all of the top tier characters, you would have to objectively say that the highest tier character that is easiest to play at the moment, that would be Sin Kisk. So that's the character that I want to play, that's the character I want to potentially master and try to get to the highest level of play. And there is no shame doing that. You're a highest level competitor, you're a top level competitor, you do everything you need to do to get the W. And Rygand is sort of at the moment on an arc where he's poking the ice with a stick. Like, is this gonna carry? Is this gonna carry me? Can you get me to a higher skill level than May? Yes, no, maybe?
Mankind knew that they cannot change society. So instead of reflecting on themselves, they blamed the beasts.
Rygand has had quite a few like super close matches on Bounty Hunters so far on Sin. The bar has slowly gotten higher and higher, and now the opponent standing on the right corner, McNuggleton, Baiken, definitely the highest level opponent that Rygand has had to face so far. Let's see how it goes. Nice whip punish from the get-go, and has learned the path as well. I love that. I think every single week, Rygand has added more combo paths to his repertoire, slowly increasing the amount of optimal conversions. And right from the get-go, optimal conversions. Into looking for the wall break. Yes, indeed, forcing it a little bit sooner than the standard wall break. If you don't want to miss it, or you don't want to risk it. And now McNuggleton in a very tough situation. Ooh, had to spend 50 meter for that. But in the end, wasn't able to get the pressure. With this throw though, this is one of the toughest situations that Baiken can put you in, and potentially a comeback maker to the other side. We have so much meter, of course we're burning. I think this should go to the wall. Burning it again? Yeah. What a comeback. Rygand started so hard, but Baiken, once Baiken gets in on you and puts on the blender, this is a character that makes comebacks happen. Absolutely does. Spendy Dog, they get the wall break. Rygand is of course representing a school of Sin that is not scared of spending everything as long as it gets you the wall break. They've increased Sin's health as of the recent patches, so he's in a place where like defending is okay. You can block a bit on, ooh, I think this will actually catch. No, too far away. Was a pixel too far away from being able to, like, without shoving yourself into that RTL with the Yozan. Reversal super into, try to jump out. It's out of the, ooh, good reaction here. This will catch the special move and put McNuggleton up 1-0. But this is definitely gonna be a matchup where we have two players with super dangerous optimal conversions. Literally super high level play, which is like, it kind of blows my mind for how fast Rygand has been actually able to get to this level. It's not too many events ago when we were like, all right, this is the week 1 character for Rygand, but he's not fucking around, he's committing. And he's been probably locked in ever since to be able to increase this character, his sub-character to such high levels as well. Wakes up with the 6B, usually as a measure of saying like, I think you're not gonna get your close slash out, I'm gonna try to poke your far slash. Alright, finding the hit, this should be good. Misses the 5k there, but still locked in. We get the mix up to the other side, forcing the whatchamacallit, the physics, forcing the corner steal here because the tether was attached still. And here the late air dash. I love that. I see glimpses of Blisk there. Yeah, just 2k 2D because we're kind of low on stamina, and Rygand is pretty good with those, with his one hit and 2 hit super cancels, but we didn't even have super. Oh, here we go! The Baiken specific counterplay that you can do against Sin, or multi-hitters, especially if there's a lot of sort of time between the hits. Baiken can attempt to red parry those, and I wonder, even though Rygand did play this matchup on Bounty Hunters once, but I think the previous opponent didn't have a lot of opportunities to do those red parries. So I wonder if Rygand is on top of the red parry RPS between those heavy hits. I think generally Sin can opt to mess around with like special cancel timings, but other option, if you really want to hard commit, if you think the red parry comes out, cancel into Gazelle Step. And the finish? No last hit. Who baits the burst? And baits the super as well. I think Rygand didn't press a button, so this should be in the bag. It's one of those things where, okay, I could have a kill here, but I probably dropped the, yeah, I think Rygand probably hasn't lapped too much with the last hit of RTL, so he might have sort of slipped his, slipped and just didn't know that was possible there. So then had to steal RPS with both the meter reserves of the opponent, but also the burst reserves of the opponent, and just calm and collected. It's like, all right, I'll deal with those. 1-1. That's a good red parry once again. The thing about red parries is they never give you a guaranteed punish though. They only give you like plus frames as far as I understand. But still, making the opponent's pressure end and flipping it over to your plus frames instead, very, very valuable kind of a tool if you're, if you know what you're trying to red parry. Of course, if you go into a matchup and try to blindly red parry shit, no bueno. Okay, to the other side, both players very respectful, not pressing any buttons. Rygand ends up getting the throw in the end. Now protecting. Ooh, nice instant air dash. Of course, the furthest reaching tools from Baiken. Good 6B. You love to see it from Baiken players where, like, a lot of Baiken players actually forget about using the 6B a lot and just try to instead play with the movement. Alright, standard BMB combo. We got the hard knockdown. Now, here's the thing. The RPS on hard knockdown against Baiken is a little tricky! Well, speaking of tricky, what was that? The FRC to the other side and then drive by Yozan. I think I've never seen that before. Why have I never seen that before? That looks so good. Tough situation for both players. I think this goes through, right? Through the active frames. No, it's a little too active. It was a good idea, though. I would have literally done the same. It's like, all right, you shoot this, I shoot mine. But RTL has only so many info frames. It has decent amount. It can approach, like, after the super flash, it goes like, I don't know, 3-4 character lengths, but unfortunately McNuggleton was a little too far there, and the explosion radius of that gun super stays active for so long.
Duel 1.
Yeah, standard whiff punish here, prompting McNuggleton to burst immediately. I think McNuggleton, respect burst, knows that there is gonna be a wall break off of that, right? And you don't want to get wall broken immediately off the round start if you can. Nice, there we go. The counterplay. I mean, even though it's an interesting one where if you would go for the beak too, yes, sure, that would be red parried, but there is also a very common option to use the gazelle step after a beak to check the opponent's reaction speed too. Another FRC, flop them down into the Escabari. Physics, ooh, good trade here. Rygand is so loaded with resources, goes for a very delayed hoof stomp, which not only catches backdash, but sort of abuses block and also destroys an immediate reversal parry. So really nice there, timing. Ooh, that's gonna get caught. Not even the blue RC is gonna save Rygand from that backdash commit. Both players missing themselves from the round start. Ooh, but the too heavy, another too heavy that is so slow on recovery. So very, very whiff punishable, especially if it whiffs like that. With 6p into. Oh, it spends the stamina to go for a little bit of a reset. There's the red parry once again. And Rygand didn't have a lot of stuff to do against that on like 0 stamina situation. If you queue up 5 heavy, if you queue up 2 heavy against Baiken, you're kind of like, you can't do anything about it. You're probably gonna take it. The DP works out. Again, the hoof, this time a little bit faster. Taps the 5D. Do we have the combo? We can go straight into the super. Might need clean hit here. Yeah, it's so close. And the RPS here, yeah, just uses the 5P as a frame kill to set up the meaty elk hunt, which will catch backdashes as well. That's one of the great features of elk hunt, even though it's kind of not the greatest on block because it forces you to spend stamina. Because it's so minus, it does catch backdashes though, so it has that going in for it. Rygand once again gambles with the last piece of stamina into a throw. We have a super inbound, so it looks good. Now, again, that elusive pixel and the same setup. Yeah, it's surprisingly good at catching people. Is like, I think what happens in players' heads is that they see you standing at that full screen distance and they're like, oh, you're not coming at me, but you have to take into account like what unique options your opponent's character has, and Sinkiss can pounce at you from that distance just like that, almost unreactable, and check you doing basically any buttons, any backdashes, and I think it catches jumps as well. I'm pretty sure. I've never seen anybody get a jump off in that situation, so I assume it catches that as well. Maybe? Do I know my own character? Ooh, good spacing there. And with the Kabari, gonna get a punish. Unfortunately, that was a bar slash, but I mean, hey, we're gonna take what we can get. Adjusting your distance against the DP, that's already kind of hard to punish as it is. And now with a very decisive life lead here. Couple of different options Rygand could go about. Chooses the, I think it looked like a backdash startup, maybe. But choosing to play with the meterless options, which is kind of like what you, in that situation, kind of have to do. If your opponent has so much more life than you kind of have to save your resources for those big comeback combos. And it's hard to, like, really hard to justify spending them on. Oh, nice interception! However, Rygand got juggled into a little bit too far. The gun super, which is basically a counterplay against, or like a counterplay against anti-airs. Once again, a good red parry, however, commits to the Yozan without 50 meter, and that's gonna be a Tyrant Barrel whip from that distance? Damn, I don't see that very often. Ooh, that's gonna whiff altogether! Rygand gets a throw! Oh my goodness! Old school Guilty Gear! I think it could have probably landed into a close slash, but that looks way more cool. And from this distance, yeah, there's no matter what stamina burn Rygand goes for, hoof stomp doesn't matter, DP combo doesn't matter. It's gonna be a done deal. Ooh, again, that's kind of why it's so dangerous to go for that RPS, that red parry RPS. The opponent doesn't have to cancel. We can just do beak and look at what you're doing. Oh, that's gonna be a big starter. And Rygand should be able to get the kill here, right? Doesn't even need clean hits. Yeah, boom, Sin Kisk. With that close slash, I think Sin is a cool character in a sense that you don't have the best damage out of your like close slash or like any hits. It's like Soul, Nago, Goat Louis, characters like that will always do more. But the thing is, you're so consistent with your damage output. Every single hit that you can take, that you can make, does like relatively good amount of damage. Like even jabs do like massive damage for Sin if you have the optimals down. That burst comes out, prevents the wall break from coming through. Rygand with one stamina. Ooh, tried to anti-air with a parry here, but Rygand seems to be perfectly in tune for that unique mechanic that is Hiraki, the parry from Baiken. And of course, timing is everything when you're trying to RP as a mechanic like that. Delay timing, the right timing, those are sort of the key tools that you're working with. Doesn't really matter what you use per se, the timing is all that matters when you're striking at, or rather trying to strike at the parry recovery frames. Now, try to parry that. That was an interesting move. I guess because Rygand had the tension there to go for an RTL RC. But the timing wasn't quite right, looks like. That's a very aggressive Yozan from the round start. Jumpy, put them in the corner, do it again. Staircase to the bottom floor. Rygand, ooh, McNuggleton standing at the perfect spacing there. It's the when you're planning to go for an L count, the most dangerous thing is that your opponent is standing at the perfect pixel range where your L count will have to like actually whiff. Those are the kind of situations where you might get close slashed as a punish. Rygand brawling their way into this wall break. McNuggleton with the 50. Uses it to drift forward, trying to push the situation, but that means now we're not gonna have the tension for the Yozan RC. The best mix-ups are sort of locked out. Rygand running out of steam here in terms of the stamina. Doesn't matter, we still have the pressure situation and the stamina to follow it. Rygand taking not only a little bit of a lead, but starting to look like a decent amount of momentum lead here. Next game will be absolutely instrumental for McNuggleton. Gotta break the momentum of especially this player. Like, you might not know, but Rygand is a very hard... I feel like Rygand is a very hard-paced player and enjoys the sort of the confidence boost that you get from like successful rounds. If you let this type of player run rampant, if you don't stop their march, they might be in the zone. They're there. They're in the 7th heaven already. Looks like everything's going in Rygand's way right now. McNuggleton, not even burst, ready to go. You're going down. Another one of those bad boys. Spent 2. I guess it was 1 in that situation. And then spent the TB. Ooh, tricky high angle going over and then landing to the other side with the jump heavy. Frame kill into a big close slash counter hit. Lucky for McNuggleton, the wall had taken so much damage and Rygand didn't really have time to queue up the super, but that's so brilliant! The Wild Assault taking the last bit of, or rather the last pixel of McNuggleton's burst gauge, so they weren't able to burst. Here comes the burst though. It's gone. And the pixel is left there. There's no way Rygand is gonna lose from this situation. It was an impossible comeback for McNuggleton to make, and Rygand doesn't let that happen. But yeah, that was a great insight there. Rygand went for a premature RTL cancel in order to try to finish the opponent as their burst gauge was still sealed from that Wild Assault. Even though they nerfed that feature quite a bit, it still chews up a little bit of, just a couple of pixels of your opponent burst gauge and makes it unusable for like, depending on how little health your opponent has, it could be like half a second, could be a second, something like that. But it all matters. It enables longer combos when burst is not ready to come out yet. Ooh, barely misses with that jump heavy. The downside of that move is, of course, it has no vertical reach whatsoever. So you're hoping that your opponent is aligned with you horizontally. Ooh, good check. You could maybe throw that, but even better rewards you get from stuff like fast pokes like 2K. Punish with the use of 2 heavy. All right, what are we cooking? Attaching the Kabari. Not too bad. And a super at the end. Is exactly what Nuggies is gonna need. The opponent, though, after going through the wall, full tension, full stamina, and almost full burst as well. Let's see what the RPS is gonna be. Yeah, this time McNuggleton didn't go for the immediate parry. It's just way too risky if the opponent has 100, because they could RC the super before the first hit goes active, in which case you're just gonna put yourself in a counter hit state. So the safest way is to just let it happen and let the opponent have the super PRC. Once again, go into the super. It's gonna put Rygand in a really good situation. We'll have to stall a little bit for the stamina though. Red parry works out. Oh, that's a good cancel. I think McNuggleton can. No, never mind. It was at the critical distance, like we were talking about earlier. In that gun super versus RTL, you need to be close enough for the immediate hit to reach after the super flash. Otherwise, there's gonna be a gap. But Rygand brings it home, and most importantly, preserving the Wild Assault resources. I don't even say burst resources at this point, because who the fuck cares about bursts when playing Sin Kisk? This guy has such a great Wild Assault, one of the best red Wild Assault users in the game, so you're like, I guess I'm mostly hoping to use my burst resources for that Wild Assault, if everything goes well. I mean, of course, sometimes out of necessity, you will have to use that blue burst. There's no way around that, but... DP into 2K, 2D standard combo. We're gonna take the wall here. Ooh, unfortunately, Rygand at the 5 heavy, and that actually, wait, that juggles? That juggles, huh? Okay, I didn't know. I thought you would have to go for a 2 heavy in that situation. Learning new stuff from these young whippersnappers. I guess technically 5 heavy is the more hard-hitting normal out of those. Player spending the extra 50. Rygand is remaining with the 50 though. The very delayed hoop stomp. Oh, and the tail end of that 5 heavy. Another thing that I'm so proud of Rygand for using that 5 heavy way more. I was talking to Rygand and saying, like, 2 heavy, that button is kind of stinky. It's not good on block. What you want to use instead, use the 5 heavy a little bit more. That button is really cool. Safe on block, sets up spacing traps, does your dishes, sets up basically uninterruptible hoof elk. Much better button than the 2 heavy. And Rygand has been starting to use that way more.
Duel 1.
Alright, Nuggies! I did not expect that Nuggies, out of all players, would be in a tough situation here against Rygand. But that's how it goes. Rygand has been so locked in with this character. It's everything looking so solid. I can't even point like very many mistakes here. Rygand is reaching levels of immaculate power here. Yeah, there's the RPS between the heavy hits. That's one thing that has been going in for Nuggies so far, definitely. And the wall break as well, that was from very far away. Rygand has a lot of resources to defend with. We're just going in with the resourceless one. The good old DP, nothing beats Hawkbaker when it comes to getting you out of trouble. Good super. This will actually catch the extended hurt box of Beak Driver. Not a whole lot of disjoint on that. I mean, there is a decent amount of disjoint, but it also pushes your hurt box very forward. It kind of gives it to the opponent. Alright, landing into a perfect hit. No wall break just yet. Was probably trying to sort of delay the inevitable wall break. From what distance? Nuggies with a really clean round here. These are the kind of rounds that Nuggies absolutely needs if we're gonna run this back. Rygand has been so solid that you need to surprise him with something. You need deviation from the game plan that you had earlier, definitely. And you need lightning fast execution. You need those precise decisions. You need that tight gameplay. Yeah, I like that. Nuggies has been trying to challenge that big RPS situation with the red parry. I think most of the times that Rygand has been using it, but now taking it a little more chill. it is like the odds are stacked against you. Even if you get the red parry, it's like you don't even have a true punish queued up, right? Right, with a nice bounce combo, utilizing the tether, should go through the wall. Yes, indeed. And now looking for one more mix-up. Pulls them in. The use of SDP. Sorry, S-Kabari. But Rygand solves the situation with the DP. Ooh, okay. It looks like kind of tried to jump out, but wasn't able to get far enough, fast enough. And then into forcing the mix-up situation. Ooh, went for it a little too early, and Rygand is ready to punish that. Switching positions as well. The Kabari is still attached. There are some funky things that could happen in sync combos if you have that Kabari attached, and it takes like even I'm not sure about all of the intricacies of how you should route in that mode. Yeah, saving the stamina like that. Instant air dash against the fireball function. That is Simppi driver, but once again Rygand getting out of the jail with using that DP. One of the best DPs in the game. Get mixed up. Coming from the back. Rygand trying to box McNuggleton in the corner, which seems impossible at the moment. Nuggies coming forward. We have so much resources. Good RPS and the cancel. We can get the super. This is kind of prorated though. Is it gonna be enough? So close. With the clean hit, surely with the clean hit, it's gonna be the determining factor between a kill and not kill. Set point Rygand once again. Now McNuggleton going, ooh, that was so slick! Slip and slide it to the other side to get the close slash starter. Ooh, immediately queues up the parry on the first recovery frame out of 2 heavy. And then, yeah, we go with the usual, the classic stuff. McNuggleton hasn't actually gotten into a position to use just that 50% empowered, or sorry, the 50 tension empowered high-low yet. But finally, we get there, and gotta say, it's definitely not without a reason that Rygand is known for those situations. There are a lot of set play characters in this game that don't really do a whole lot of damage out of their mix-ups, like Milia, like Bridget, like Ino. Rygand is not of that same category. When Rygand mixes you up, she does a lot of damage, usually. But as a balancing factor, she has to work a little harder to get to you first. Because like her neutral is generally not considered like one of the best. Ooh, yeah, that 2 heavy has so much recovery. That's so unfortunate. Rygand landed a little bit too late there to get anti-aired by that. Committed to the throw. McNuggleton not home that time. The instant air backdash jump heavy. Big stop sign. If you're gonna try to run at me, if you're gonna try to jump at me, none of it is gonna work. This time, queues up the reversal super. Yep, has seen that sequence not once but twice so far, and this time returns it with a reversal. Yeah, the Ozan is gonna cleave the low profile L count, and we're gonna go into the bounce combo. That should be enough, right? No, not quite. Perhaps dropping it on purpose. Right doesn't get there in time, huh? McNuggleton. DP's the extended frames of the jump D. It was a very hard read there. Nuggies reading that Rygand might have been going airborne, basically. Yeah, once again, the instant air backdash jump heavy. One of the go-to measures for defending your space when you're low on stamina. And it's so inviting to try to advance on that, but it's very hard. And it has a lot of disjoint that Sim jump heavy. Yeah, this time the opportunity is perfect. Rygand didn't have the 50 meter left anymore after that super to BRC, so we can just get the guaranteed parry. McNuggleton trying the same stuff that Rygand, moving backwards, queuing up those long-reaching buttons. Both players trying to be defensive, but now Rygand does have the stamina. We can be offensive. What's the combo? Runs over a little bit too far, but still maintains the 2 stamina conversion. Finds the hit. 6P, big driver. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. Rygand 7-4 against McNuggleton. Are you kidding me? Who's next? How strong is Rygand gonna be in 2 weeks? Absolutely absurd amount of progression in such a short amount of time. This man looks like he cannot just cannot be stopped at the moment. Why, I can't even remember what's next. Oh, okay, this one. So we get a little bit of we got a match that has been in the making for a little while at least. The Scottish duo Yorokobi and Wires have been trading gazes back and forth over on the Bounty Hunters Discord side. The previous confrontation had to be cancelled because one of them had, I forgot which one, but one of them had things to do, but now it's here. I think I'm slightly worried for Wires for based on the sort of pre-game banter that's been going on. Because I think Wires was like a couple of hours before the event was like, shit, how do you play Bridget? It's like, oh shit, that can't be good. Hopefully we've had good guides to check out. Because the opponent isn't gonna be easy by any measure here. Not only is it Nagoriyuki, one of those characters, probably, I guess he's not anymore that character to beat, but is definitely one of those characters to beat this patch. And you are playing a rather light-hitting character in Bridget, so you're gonna have to be precise. You're gonna have to be a little bit more consistent than your opponent, because you hit like a kitten, but you hit like a kitten with the sharp claws and sharp fangs, right? All right, let's see what Wires has been able to cook up during these last hours of grinding. We got the DP, of course. Yep. Standard get me out of jail with extended risk card. I probably thought that was gonna be, oh, here comes the bait. The super? Sorry, the burst? Nah, it would have been a little bit too risky in that situation. Even though we might not feel the most comfortable piloting the character, you still will maintain probably your wits about you as far as like all the fundamentals of the game go. And the fundamentals say, when you're at 0 health, please don't burst, unless it's the last round. The close slash, ooh, into 6 heavy, into immediate super, but Nago is a little bit too far. Do we get the punish? No! Yorokobi was a little late to that, and that's gonna cost him! He's gonna pop! Do we get the punish? Close slash? Yes, indeed! Got the super? Sorry, got the combo? Yeah! I mean, I think this is the first optimal combo attempt of the evening. We've seen Nago popping a couple of times, but we've also had like slightly questionable starters, slightly unoptimal starters, very far starters. But Wire's the first one who is just like, all right, I got time. I'm gonna stride in, get the close slash, get the universal best starter, and you're just gonna be done. Yo, Wires missing the combo though. Yorokobi technically still has a chance. Waits patiently for the resource burn. That's gonna mean Wires probably won't have a burst here. I mean, this wall break is gonna generate a ton of burst as well. Not to mention the super slices. Waiting out once again. Is the DP gonna come out? No! It's in fact Wires gonna take advantage of that. Waiting for the weight of Yorokobi. Oh, the perfect angle. Tried to anti-air that. I missed which button Yorokobi was going in with, but whatever it was, looks like Wires was reaching deep enough from that rolling movement angle. That looked almost like a classic Exert Raven kind of glide cancel angle into a jump K. Half my viewers don't have any idea what the fuck I'm talking about. What are you like? QK, what the hell? Who is Raven? And what is a glide cancel? Ooh, with the far reach of that 5 heavy, caught them off the backwards Fukyo. I think we saw that earlier on the first game of HiWill versus versus Phantomicious as well. And I'm puzzled. Why does that happen? Does Fukio just not move backwards fast enough? Ooh, he rock the baby. Looks like Wires has all the cool options lined up, all the right RPS options to line up at the moment. Got the Beyblade startup as well. Are you kidding me? That's kind of rare. I mean, it takes a lot of guts to like be there to counter a bulk attempt against Nagoriyuki, who has blood open. Not me. I'm gonna pussy the fuck out of there until Nagoriyuki is deep into that level 3. And not working out this time, so Yorokobi forcing the situation, pressing, like, spending the blood, and when the blood is high, spending the burst afterwards. And putting it 1-1. Yeah, this time it must be the early Fukio cancels. So when you're doing like backwards Fukio into Beyblade, for instance, which is a really common round start, right? So you cancel into the Beyblade a little too early, maybe. Ooh, nice instant there. That's perfect timing against the fireball function. Jump D hits. Going into the close slash this time instead. Ooh, maybe tried to counter YRC, which turned into the blue RC. Not too bad, actually. Especially if your opponent hasn't queued up a strike yet. They won't be able to do so because their frames are just slowed so much. Ooh, works as an anti-air. We're gonna pop though, and yeah, takes it simple. 2K. If you take that blood pop on block, it does put you in an advantage where you can still get close slash, but if there's distance between you and the opponent, you might not be able to micro dash into that close slash, in which case you would have to use your K normals to get a punish instead. And of course Wires knows all of this. Setting up the cross up. However, I guess without meter there ain't gonna be the biggest follow-ups from that. And now we're gonna be contending with a character who has a lot of payoff for guessing right. Even that blood-sucking universe took out like 1/7, 1/8 of Bridges' life. Into, yep, it's minus something. I forgot what. But if you're scared of the DP cancel, which technically can frame trap your throw, if the Nagoriyuki player is frame perfect, sees that Wild Assault coming, we got the throw. We know the universal stuff. We know the counterplay. Ah, waited for the burst. That was a big commit. Yorokobi with basically saying that there is no way in hell that you're gonna just lay there on the floor and let me get a close slash. The burst is gonna come out eventually. Maybe a weaker-willed player would be like, oh shit, maybe I have to go for the close. Maybe I have to like adjust my spacing and go for the meaty. After all, because the burst didn't come out. No, it's still gonna come out. All right, set it more. It's super, like the life on Yorokobi's life bar has been chewed out very slowly this round. But this could be the move that changes the fate. Wires was working so hard for that life bar, but now the white Wild Assault pushes through the fire and the flames. Oh my god, what a highway robbery. It was literally one touch away, but you let Nagoriyuki out of the corner, and you know what's gonna happen after that. Ooh, the far slash, unfortunately turning into a close slash. So, the other way around, sorry. And the far slash, not able to get the punish there on that burst. Nice, holding the air momentum a little bit to wait for the too heavy actives from Nagoriyuki to expire. Clone working as an anti-air, as intended, I guess, by our Lord and Savior Daisuke Ishiwatari. Here comes the rolling movement, mix up. Are you not blocking? Maybe try to go for a reversal super, nobody knows. But the fact of the matter is, Wires is mixing, Wires is set play, Wires is throwing, and now Deflect Shield ain't gonna do enough because the rolling movement momentum is pushing Bridget ever towards the target. I'm not even sure like how prevalent the deflect shield is in that RPS situation. I mean, it will cover for the high lows, certainly. Oh, but just like that, it's like, what is this? 7 seconds? 8 seconds? 8 seconds max. All right. Pack it up, boys. New world record. Alrighty then. I guess we're gonna get bounced out this time. Where's my combo execution? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Winner stays. All right, 4 is the magic number. Now, this could be a sandbag. Oh, never mind. It's actually a real game. We just felt that Bridget life went down so fast, but gotta remember, it is Nagoriyuki after all, and there could be a repeat of the round we saw previously. That was like literally an 8-second round, and Nagoriyuki is one of the few characters who can actually achieve that. To have a round that fast, you don't only need massive damage, but also a character that transitions into the next Oki situation really fast after getting the knockdown. And I guess it requires one of the softer characters in the game, because you do have to get that 2-touch, right? Looking like Wire's working with almost perfect here, but we've seen this before. You let Yorokobi play on that Nagoriyuki, and oh boy, no way, there is robbery happening again. Literally fighting for the last pixel. I can see with my soul's eyes. This round must have been epic. And Yorokobi actually ended up stealing it again. It was literally from the get-go, losing all of your life, and then stealing it back because you're goddamn Nagoriyuki and you hit hard as goddamn truck. That would be 4th point for Yorokobi, right? But considering how worried Wires was sounding before the match, it's going surprisingly well. I mean, if you are looking at the score, it doesn't tell the whole story. Wires has been playing actually phenomenally. The control, again, the spacing and everything, using the right buttons at the right times. Ooh, being a little naughty Nagoriyuki. However, I'll fucking do it again. Of course, Goofy says, it works so often, so why, like, if it doesn't work once, try it again. It might work. And often it does. I mean, honestly, it's really hard to always play yourself outside of Nago's throw range. Especially if you want to actually threaten with the most dangerous pressure that you can. You gotta be a sniper, you gotta be picture perfect, you gotta be precise. Yo, there was an anti-air with a 2S! Kiddings? Did you notice? He noticed. Yo, he noticed. He's so in there. Even though he did miss the combo, was trying to go again for the big money close slash, but I mean, at that point, the life bar of Nagoriyuki is gonna flow down to 0 eventually, which means that there is infinite amount of chip damage attempts for you in the future. Oh, missed the close slash, critical, back throw incident into blood-sucking universe into you just dead. It could happen to you very easily. It has happened to me too. Not once or twice, but more than 3 times. And it will keep on happening. Because Nago is that character. Ooh, nicely aligned jump there. Came down from that jump. What was that? There was an interesting buffer there. Nobody saw that, right? Except me. Ooh, that brick wall, the 6 heavy. Glimpses of what was that matchup a couple of weeks ago where we saw a really creative use of that 6 heavy to generate. How active is that even? I have to bring out the frame data. Let's see how many active frames. That can't be a good thing, right? You can't just swing the 6 heavy like that, can you? 6 actives? Okay. Well, I guess you can then. What's the recovery? Half a second. Alright, at least there's a really punishable recovery. So it's like, with punish me, bro, or else. Goes for the OTG. Now, that was a commitment and a half. Knew that if the clone lands without FD, that's gonna be a chip kill. But also Yorokobi kind of signed up his own death sentence there because the blood was too much. Are you gonna pop? Is that what's gonna happen? No, just barely. Enough 5 heavies to draw the blood back. Really hard to do stuff in this situation. However, the sneaky dash forward, Wires playing themselves in a comfortable position, be able to fire the heavy buttons. And now, are we doing the counter steal? I mean, I guess it's not technically a steal because like Wires wasn't too low health either. So it's been back and forth this round. This will equalize the situation once again, or perhaps even put in Yorokobi's favor because that super is gonna draw some blood back. Ooh, ooh. And because that combo is a little bit harder in modern patches because too heavy no longer can be cancelled into Hukyo, as you might know. None of his heavy buttons can, so you will have to wait for it to recover before you can do the Hukyo. So it's a little more tricky conversion nowadays, so it's doubly cool when it happens. Again, at the precipice of popping, Wires must notice that this is the case. So no blood moves will be able to be spent for a couple of minutes, or a couple of seconds rather. I mean, technically minutes if you're... I mean, the round is not gonna last more than a minute, but what I'm trying to say is that... watch out for that back throw! It has taken so many lives, too many lives, prematurely lost to Nagoriyuki's massive throw range, into the corner, into set play, into pressure, into samurai mix, you name it. He's popping, and he's backdashing, oh no! Alright, but it should still be in in Wires' favor, right? Samurai mix, can you hold out? Yes, they can! Yes, they indeed freaking can! Great defensive play to not fall prey to that overhead. Again, connecting the jump slash a little too high up in the air and not getting enough frame advantage on the landing. That one rings true though, as it's a counter hit into Rock the Baby. If your opponent is not waiting for it, it's technically reactable, but because it's such a slow command grab, but your opponent might not be on the same Yomi layer. Completely whipping that Wild Assault. That burst is gonna be gone. Maybe we don't need it. We spent the blood instead. However, the YRC will force a pop, right? No, they didn't notice. Again, another wild pop will take Yorokobi to exactly 0 health. Not quite 0, but low enough that theoretically that yo-yo toss would have been the kill, but smartly used a tool that just erases all projectiles as it passes through them, the clone, and or the Fukyo. Ooh, so tricky. Cross up with the jump K into a combo. Very close to popping once again. Yorokobi riding that thin line between life and death. Wow, Asurayuki is definitely gonna give you a little bit of blood back, give a little bit of breathing room, and potentially giving you an opportunity to adjust your position. Fire slash on the falling down Bridget. That will be it. Surprisingly good games for Wires. I thought that there's not gonna be like it's just gonna be Yorokobi over and over again without any opposition from Wires. And if you're looking at the score 7-1, maybe you thought that this was one-sided, but I think this is one of the like rare cases where this was actually fairly close considering the match content. I think Wires took many games, many rounds down to the wire. It was just one hit, basically lacking just the finishing touch. And I mean, some rounds you can't just help it. It's Nagoriyuki after all. So if you guess wrong, Nagoriyuki guesses right, gets you with a good old close slash or I don't know, counter hit DP or Beyblade or whatever are the best party starters for Nagoriyuki. I guess it doesn't really matter if you have blood left to spend. But yeah, it's definitely the score not telling the whole story here by any means. Wires did it pretty well considering that how worried about the game they were just before the match. Okay. Next one would be that game, that coast to coast. 2 players entering the field of battle for the first time on Bounty Hunters. One of them from UK, one of them from US. Let's actually make sure that our US player is awake, because this is still fairly early for Americans. I mean, I guess that not too early for East Coast, but West Coast for sure, although we I think as far as West Coast players go, we haven't really been able to get a whole lot of those in, unless they are signing up with a buddy. Because like our player base is mostly European based. And unless you're like close enough to our West Coast players, it's really hard to justify setting up those matches, because the connections are not going to be fun to play with, not going to be competitive at all. So this would be the second last match of the evening. The quality of the match is the quality of the matches tonight have been cranked really high. And this would be another relatively high-level match as well. Now, our sort of carrying theme of this week has been the hard-hitting character versus the soft-hitting character, and Testament would definitely be the lighter-hitting character this time around. Once again, a character who is a little bit more about the zoning, a little bit more about the control, a little bit more about the persistent pressure, not necessarily the massive damage. Or I mean, Testament can do damage. The problem is, of course, just like Bedman, Testament is a little slow to start up. You have that, what we call in the industry, the multi-step game plan, where you have to throw a specific fireball, then you have to throw another fireball to curse the opponent, and then you have to find a strike if you want to cash out big.
Mankind knew that they cannot
And you could maybe argue that Testament doesn't have a 2-step game plan, actually has a 3-step game plan in a way. That said, Testament is fairly good at what they do. Like you have a really S-tier fireball in Grave Reaper. Not just the S version, but the heavy version is also very hard to whiff punish, and it closes. It sort of seals off really huge part of the screen at once, and that's going to be a very important feature against a character like Mei, because we're always talking about the anti-airs when it comes to Mei. If you can't anti-air Mei, it's all for nothing, and we're starting up with a couple of really good Grave Reapers. Not only does it anti-air the opponent, but it also, you know, preemptively makes Dolphins impossible to come in as well. Heavy Grave Reaper, my beloved. Once upon a time, I was a Testament player too, and believed in the potential of a freshly released DLC character of one of my favorite fighting game characters of all time. What went wrong? Arxis, what went wrong? Anyway, Right, 6P is also a really good tool, not only as an anti-air, which, you know, it should fulfill that function as well if you know, color tries to jump too much, but also as a counter tool to what could come through horizontally, such as the dolphins. Yeah, you see a lot of those swings, and it's also like it's been nerfed a little bit. Ooh, playing the teleport RPS, teleporting in place, technically forcing the color to which reversal super, even though it's one of the slowest ones, definitely fulfills its function. Now here comes the Tempest session and straight into the heavy fireball. Arbiter sign is potential finisher. Stands up, tries to dash block to great fortune. However, it's so hard to get there without taking at least a couple of hits against Testament, unless you have like super good neutral skip options, such as like what even are super good neutral skip options against Testament? I guess like Elk Hunt, maybe. But yeah, it's not the easiest thing. It's kind of like playing Street Fighter with a twist. Because the up fireball is just so powerful, and that up fireball is basically like Maze 5 heavy. It's hard to whiff punish, but whiff punish you must, because if you don't, you're missing a lot of value in this matchup. Right, pop the stain into more plus frames, but fast RC to get another stain. Oh, but wait, the stain was consumed before the HiWill was able to come through. Able to block for the super. Ooh, this is playing very dangerous game. Dancing back and forth. Both players playing at almost their tip range poking distance. And still got the burst there. But Khan making sure that there is no escape, or is there? OTG, Grave Reaper is not going to be enough on the initial hit, but on the second hit. Wait, how does that work? So you take the Grave Reaper strike lands initially, and then you stand up. As you stand up, you're gonna have to block the projectile part as well as a meaty. That's what happens, I think. Once again, yep, S Reaper into Heavy Reaper. Very, very hard combination to go through. But now we have gotten there, and Color with an opportunity to mix up immediate YRC. When you're playing with one of these control type of characters that don't necessarily do a whole lot of damage, but take a lot of damage, you kind of want to get rid of the brawler characters as soon as possible. Would love to get out of this May pressure as well, but doesn't quite have the universal resources. At the tail end of the round, was able to build into that tension that might have gotten KingAura the YRC. Nice possession into a successful hit. The stain is on. Use the poking into the active frames of that fight heavy. One of the best situations. Oh no, are you kidding me? The close slash, because of that, the Calamity one is so slow. In fact, one of the slowest reversals in the game. Color was able to safe jab it using close slash, I think it was. That is tragic. That is one of the only downsides of that reversal super, that if the opponent is working with a really fast recovery normal, yeah, it's safe jab time, baby. It's what is it? 14 frames, 15 frames startup for Calamity 1, something like that, which is kind of on the slow, like really on the slow end of the scale. Ooh, tap them. This time we had the curse. Oh, missed the input of the super, unfortunately. That was supposed to be Calamity 1, so we have to go to the next screen and try to hunt for that pixel. Now, yeah, the pixel thievery. Luckily for KingAura, it's not gonna happen this time. You know, these characters like Mei and Nagoriyuki that we've seen so many tonight, in such an abundance tonight. It's making me sweat. It could happen to you as well. The thievery could happen in just about every round as well. Packs them airborne, the stain pop, also making this air combo possible. That would have been, definitely would have been wall break and stain as well, so probably good place to burst there, especially since we're on the last round here for color. Teleport once again into, ooh, the tap, and we have Calamity One this time. This time we're not gonna miss the input. No 5Ks, just supers. And once again, I like the very aggressive usage of possession in as many situations as possible. It's one of those adjustments that Testament has gotten on the. Ooh, it was so great. Doesn't quite get there. The 5K was supposed to pick up. Like when you pop stain with the tip end of your far slash, it's gonna be a long run, very precise run as well. I think to get to the perfect combo distance. Oh, but this time the S-Dolphin gets through the zoning, or rather the pressure. Hard crush into, waiting for a response. No response from KingAura this time. I mean, there is full pension bar, so you would think that a super BRC would be a thing. That's a really cool hit there, when you make it hit so that it actually doesn't break the wall, but sends them into your too heavy, and then you go for a little bit of extension after that still. Yeah, the far slash is good. It's a little hard to confirm unless you have the stain applied. But with stain, man, that far slash is one of the most dangerous pokes in the game. Super? No super! I think was trying to queue up the Nostrovia there, but it missed the input twice in a row. Arbiter sign puts a stop to that engagement, sending the neutral grow. But still, Color able to fight through that. We got the block, yes indeed. But PRC, oh my, are you kidding me? They were on the same layer. Instead of just waiting, they were like, oh, I think you're gonna PRC and then you're gonna press a button. Therefore, I will reversal myself. And of course, since the opponent's back was against the corner, that's gonna break immediately. And in fact, get the round for Color. Nutty RPS.
Duel 1. Let's rock.
With punish attempt there, although they have nerfed that 2S for what? Hello? What direction? They have nerfed the 2S of Maze a couple of times, so it's not necessarily the God button that it once was. Thank God, because May isn't supposed to be that kind of character, I feel like. Ooh, a drive-by jump, heavy counter, hit into. Yeah, get rid of this set play. Oh, interesting. I think there was probably some sort of misinput there. Probably wanted to do some sort of like a up dolphin FRC, or unsure. Still, Color in a very decent position. This is a zoning character though, so with a good amount of control, we could still have a fair reach of this round. Plus frames after the Arbiter sign, dashing in and catching! Still one more hit. Ooh, the YRC, yeah, it's kind of like... Yeah, it's not gonna do anything, is it? The close range pressure, nice tech out of the throw. That is another very nutty kind of RPS choice. I've always been like, I don't dare to take throws in this game because it's way too dangerous. Are we gonna be able to block? Yes, indeed. Slow Calamity One. Oh, Calamity One. Ooh, cool, using the stationary possession there. Of course, there is nowhere to teleport when you don't have the succubus marker, but you can use it for air stalling. The same way you would use, for example, the I don't even know what it's called from Bedman, the one that you delay your arrows with. Throw, and into the split mix-up. Good defense though from KingAura. Oh, but eventually you're gonna have to do something. And predicting the burst as well is gonna be big. In fact, I think that's gonna be a kill. Charge that 6 heavy. Bam! Maximum damage. Color once again taking the lead by not by much, just by a little bit. We haven't really determined who like has the upper edge in this matchup perhaps just yet. Because the control has been so good for KingAura. And Color only gets so many opportunities to get in. Like, look at this! Dancing around, utilizing the possession to its basically maximum effect. In fact, I think if there is one thing that Color hasn't like been very active with, it is the possession RPS, right? Which is usually like most prevalent in the corner when the Testament player has sent Succubus marker towards the mid screen, and then it's like, am I gonna teleport or am I not gonna teleport? And if you think the possession is gonna happen, then you would have to park yourself around that marker to be able to poke them on reaction when they're coming out of it. Oh, go under. Yep, that will definitely be the natural nemesis of the 6P. Although you better be sure that you find your mark with that May 6K, sorry, the 3K, of course. Ooh, important hit here. Not only will we be able to get a big conversion, but also get rid of that stain. That was a pain in the butt. Always a pain in the butt, because like any sort of poke, far slash, even the K buttons, even P buttons, like anything will pop you up in the air and act as a kind of like a mini RC, if you will, when the stain is on you. Ooh, charged it up as well. So we got maximum capacity for this starter. Go for the Nostrovia. This will also set up the stain, which makes it usually the preferable. Oh, but that's not a kill? Damn, you like if you choose that super, you're usually saying like, all right, I'm sure that it's gonna kill. Otherwise, you would usually route into Nostrovia instead, right? Ooh, try to press 6P. Caught by the big 5 heavy on Mesa. Steals the round away from KingAura.
Duel 1.
And May is definitely capable of thievery like this if you let her do it. Just like we saw. Ooh, nice backdash into a Crow Slash, was that? Fishing for the big money instead. It was so cool. Possession, and then immediately dash forward to Bamboozle where you're gonna surface from. Okay, the 3K gets there in time this time. I think KingAura might have been trying to charge that Heavy Reaper up a little bit. Was friends on the pop. Ooh, possession to the other side, blocks it successfully. Are you kidding me? Was that an auto guard, or was that actually a situation where Color would have to flip their block? Actually nutty. FRC once again, forcing the pop. Pressure. I mean, at least the bar slash will go into Arbiter sign, so there's that. So if you're looking for some sort of rewards, it's of course possible to get a little bit. It becomes more relevant the lower your opponent's life goes. Once again, the possession RPS, delaying the momentum. The downside is if your opponent is delaying their anti-airs and sort of predicting that you're trying to stall, you're gonna go into counter hit recovery, right? I think. Ooh, okay, this should be good. Yeah. Was able to unleash Calamity 1 at a critical point here. And then the other part of the RPS, if I'm not gonna teleport into the marker, if you're just camping the marker, I'm gonna send the Crow instead and curse you. But does not do enough for KingAura this time around. Color is trying to drive a huge shift in momentum. Yeah, I think trying to play the RPS this time around was sort of backing, trying to adjust their spacing to as close to the marker as possible, but not getting the strike this time. Either way, he hasn't. Oh, I think they got the classic miss input. The first K that came out reversal was supposed to be the Calamity 1, but came out as a K instead. It is a little tricky input after all. I think it's a Potemkin Buster input, right? Ooh, that's a big one. Crow Slash, that's almost gonna be a kill. I think this might be a kill on Testament, right? Because low guts. No, not quite. Barely survives with a lot of tension as well. BRC, Great patience from Color. And because there was no stain, that Arbiter sign is actually gonna be minus. So that makes it basically Color's turn that time. KingAura tried to fish for the cookie jar and finish it with a sneaky overhead. However, Yeah, there was no follow-up, no stain to make sure that you're plus, no wire, no RC to make sure that there's like another projectile afterwards. No, nothing. And now Color is looking to expand upon their advantage even more. That was a really nice reactions XP against the Dolphin. From full screen situation, it's actually like borderline possible to react to. But has to be like fairly far away. And I mean, who is to say that it was just not a preemptive 6 because that button is pretty decent to press for Testament. Crush into more pressure, tries to throw. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. I'm so freaking terrified to take throws in this game because this could happen to you. If you get shimmied, it's all over. Counter hit from May. You're not living to tell the tale. When I was your age, I got shimmied and then I was no longer.
Let's rock.
I'm forced to kind of spend the burst early this round in order to not get wall broken. And once again, the possession, massive value printed by KingAura. But you could argue, oh nice, I got the conversion as well. Should get the curse as well uninterrupted to the other side. Ooh, but of course, Color is gonna burst here into the corner, and so all of that control goes down the drain with a clever timing, clever use of the burst mechanic. And now we have to guess right. BRC slows down the frames. Color able to see that the target is backdashing, so there is no way out. We're gonna close slash for a great victory. And testament point. Set point for Color. First one of the kind. Why, like, you need exactly stuff like this. If you think the heavy Grave Reapers are coming, you're gonna have to dash block your way forward. Play yourself in a distance where the whip punish is potentially pushable. 5k? No Calamity one this time. So ooh, nice throw! Trying to set up the curse, go for an Arbiter sign instead. However, not fast enough to prevent Color from taking the skies. This time, it's KingAura who uses the burst aggressively, putting the opponent in the corner. But they don't stay there. Is that a kill? Not quite. Split into a neutral jump shimmy. Again, what if I got shimmied? What if I missed my throw? Tragic. Painful. And so dangerous in Guilty Gear Strive. But it started very evenly, but then Color slowly came online, and after that 2-2 position, Color just started taking every single game afterwards. Very patient gameplay as well. Not get like, I know a lot of players who get super frustrated with the very diverse fireball zoning of Testaments, but Color was pretty determined, had a good plan there. Don't just dash into the fireballs, just take it easy. Dash block if you have to. If not, if you think the S fireball is coming, take the skies. You know, the S fireball is just a standard fireball. It's just a standard fireball and kind of crack. But, you know, if you jump over, you can get a punish. May's definitely good with the jumps. All right. Last match of the evening, we've got, this is a good one. Spoon, one of the highest ranked, highest level Leo players that we had the pleasure of having on Bounty Hunters, against, I mean, repeating the same words as far as FABZ is concerned. We have only limited amount of Jacko players in Europe anyway. Although, I guess Jacko players are like fairly dedicated, so I think many Jacko players that I know have been committed to the character for a very long time. Some even from the very beginning, from the release of the character. And we stay true to our theme tonight. Let me take a peek on the poster. Yeah, it's except from the first matchup, it's always been like either a hard hitter versus hard hitter, or a soft character versus a hard hitter, or like a control character versus a character who just wants to brawl. And the same theme is kind of true here, where we have Spoon. Leo has decent neutral, but of course not really known for being a neutral machine. More known for getting in and brawling it out, mixing it up when you get to the back turn stance, unseeable high-lows, the trademark of Leo Whitefang. You absolutely want to get close to the opponent. Whereas the game plan couldn't be any different for Jacko. Trying to start with the zoning part of your game plan, setting up minions once you have maybe critical amount or minions in critical places, usually like a sandwich kind of a situation. Then, preferably then, you will go in, utilize your minion gauge, lock the opponent down, maybe even activate your install supers to increase the minion gauge recovery and or to be able to keep your minions alive. Hopefully your opponent is in the corner and you're just locking them down forever. Basically every character in Guilty Gear franchise who has zoning capabilities, usually, like, unless your name is Axel Lowe, because Axel is sort of an exception. Every other character who has a little bit of zoning in your kit usually flows from the zoning into the close range pressure. The close range pressure is usually the penultimate goal still of your character. As it is with Jacko. Jacko wants to get the party started with the goons, get the zoo in there, do it with the boys. But without those minions, your normals aren't bad per se. But again, Jacko is another character that is not really known for her like main body play, perhaps. I mean, she has some good buttons such as like got 2K. 2D is great. But, you know, it's like, unless you're working in tandem with your goonies or your minions, whatever you want to call them, little goobers. Yeah, it's like she's not a complete package otherwise. So looking like FABZ has some technical difficulties, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit, which is fine. We can talk smack about everything that's happening in the Guilty Gear scene at the moment. This matchup and, you know, everything in between. And Expedition 33. Because you're missing out if you're not playing that game, just saying. I definitely haven't played it for the past 7 days. Missing out on sleep and event preparation and real life, what do you call them? Real life responsibilities. Just because we have the Game of the Year released already. Recommended for fighting game players, by the way. There's a lot of parrying in that game. Not gonna say more. If you want to play a game that will rock your world, then Claire Obscure Expedition 33. All right, enough about that. Back to fighting games. We got, I think, FABZ in the lobby. Leo versus Jacko Gaming just about to commence. Expedition 33 is a old school turn-based RPG with some action game mechanics such as parrying. And I think it's an excellent game for fighting game players because of the parrying kind of mechanic. Anyway, so Spoon versus Taps. I think this is Spoon's second time on Bounty Hunters. Had already one win under his belt. Also switch names. One win under his belt, which is, I think, the same kind of situation for FABZ, right? Hasn't really lost many games on Bounty Hunters so far. If I recall correctly. Alright, did we get a desync right off the bat? I saw the dialect text there, which is usually bad news if you see that. Yeah, looks like there's some amount of difficulties. This is not super uncommon. We have, of course, all our go-to attempts to remedy this situation from the technical standpoint. For instance, we could try to make one of the players host the room instead. This is UK to UK connection, though, which, you know, is that gonna be a good feature or is that gonna be a bad feature? Because I hear horror stories about, you know, United Kingdom being unable to connect to locations within the country. In fact, some UK locations have better connections to the rest of the world than to some other UK locations, which is absolutely bonkers. Anyway. Yes, now it's Spoon who's disconnecting. Oh my god. Oh, I see. Tried to reboot. Well, I mean, yeah, we can try that first. If that doesn't work out, we'll have either Spoon or FABZ host the room instead. Because it can happen that, because there's like some weird routing magic for who hosts the room in Strive. Because I'm located in Finland, it might try to force the routing through Finland, and then I'm not good enough at this internet mancery to know like what is going to happen because of that. I just know that shit don't work sometimes, especially when it comes to Guilty Gear Strive for some reason. All right, another try. How well, once again, how well will the soft character be? No. Nine. Grr. Yeah, we should try to have one of the players host the room. So, sending that suggestion to our players. Yeah, it's okay. It's like shit happens sometimes. Even if it's on one of your guys' end, that's fine. It's yeah, just another day on the internet. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but I mean, because we have a scapegoat here, we can blame Strive for everything, because Strive is often the primary culprit of these kind of situations. Why not use the scapegoat option? It's all Strive. No routing stuff, no ISP problems. It's all Strive, right? Am I right? So we're gonna attempt to have one of the players host. See where that gets us.
Network.
Alright, fingers crossed. Oh, this is a cool room. Rate the room into a quick third times the charm, right? Right. What about the fourth? Any fourths? I mean, it's kind of funny. I want to believe the sort of story that this is one of those cases where United Kingdom just absolutely can't make a connection within its own boundaries. I mean, it's nobody is to blame, right? Yeah, we're gonna try one more time. Make Spoon make the room. And if that doesn't work, then shit. I guess we tried everything.
Network.
Yeah, Plus R actually has a surprisingly pristine netcode. Damn, why the old games always with the best netcodes? Although that's not strictly true, because one of my deepest loves, KOF 13. What a fucking clusterfuck. I'm still salty that they fucked up the netcode of that game. The game that is probably my second most favorite fighting game of all time. Absolute freaking travesty. I can't believe it. "13 rollback has been fixed." Has it? Last time I heard it was still just completely unplayable. Oh, so it's like a recent thing. Okay, I believe you. Better late than never. All right, I think this is the last attempt to get this show on the road. If this ain't work, well, Universe said it's not meant to be. All right, once more. Spoon versus FABZ. Please? Please?
Mankind knew that they cannot change society.
Gaben! Save us! Somebody! Oh, Sneaky Squid says, might know the problem. Do tell. Open to all sorts of solutions at this point. Even some black magic. I wouldn't be like, if one of you guys suggested that it's time to sacrifice a goat in order to align the Feng Shui and the laws of the universe, I mean, that's as good as what I got. I did hear, like, what was that thing that Alternate talked about that one time? That there is some sort of glitch that is actually time locked. Where if you get the problem, there is exactly like certain amount of time that you have to let pass before you can connect to each other. So we've been offered one more solution here. So the tip from Sneaky was go online, play a quick match, and it lets you go through, restart your games after you fought a random and then fight each other. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually a viable solution for how much spaghetti goat there is in Guilty Gear Strive when it comes to the network capabilities. I mean, the tragic thing is that the netcode of Strive is actually really freaking good, but the framework built around it is not so much. So if it's just you and your opponent connecting to each other, playing with each other, it's probably like one of the top tier netcodes on the market. But unfortunately, everything else is kind of funky. Okay, we'll try this one more solution. Should I guess I should make the room, because I mean, it didn't make any difference. So we'll let the fellas do their magic and wait while wait and talk more about stuff. Talk more about Expedition 33. What a game! Game of the year. Not only is it the freaking best game that you're gonna see this year, also an amazing story from a small indie studio? Is it an indie studio? I think it is big enough that it can't be considered an indie studio. You know what's kind of nasty? It's like when you know that there is such a good game that you want to recommend to everybody, but you also understand at the same time how human psychology works. And you understand the fact that the more you hype something, the more it creates expectations. And when people actually try the product that you've been hyping up, their expectations are so abnormally high that they actually can't enjoy the game because they were expecting like some sort of God-created product, which is just doesn't exist in the world. So you're like, all right, what am I gonna say to somebody to recommend this particular product? How am I gonna be like conspicuous enough, or that's not the word I'm looking for. How am I gonna be like sneaky enough to sort of recommend that product that I wanna shill in a way that makes people still not sort of self-destruct on that experience? Now, I've sold this matchup as one of the best things ever. In fact, this is our highest seed match of the evening, if you want to call it that. Now, 4th time for the road, Spoon versus FABZ, and oh my freaking god, it seems like it works. Guilty Gear Strive, why are you coded like this? Why does a freaking bubblegum solution like this actually make it work? This is... What a game. How can a video game like this be one of the mainstream fighting games? Absolute mystery to me. Can we get the next Guilty Gear already so that we get this framework, network framework fixed up? All right, Spoon versus FABZ. If there's ever important minions out, and this is where it starts. We're gonna try to get the pylon advantage. We can't really beat Leo at the brawling when we're at this distance, so we're gonna try to bring as many bodies in as possible. Create the sandwich. Yep, this is how it starts and where it starts for Jacko. And then you're gonna try to avoid getting flash kicked as much as possible. Ooh, clean reaction. That's a very good start to the matchup. If you can't deal with Berserker Slash consistently on reaction, if you can't throw that, then you're already doomed to play a really, really tough matchup where Leo can just cancel anything into a Berserker Slash and you're just in a complete mix-up. Yeah, speaking of the flash kick, S flash kick is probably one of the, like, along with Sin's DP, one of the best reversals in the game. Definitely enjoys the advantage of having the flash kick input, which is the charge input. Very fast input, doesn't care about left or right at all. So a premium tool to try to get out of the pressure of Jackos if you know where the gaps are potentially. Spoon intercepts the jump into Berserker Slash. This time it sinks. Of course, Leo is a character that forces you to have a look at that 2D from downtown catching Faz, putting him in the corner. But now we're dangerously low on resources, so potentially we only have to... Oh, that's gonna be a punish. With that dash momentum added to the 2D, it's more likely to put you in a distance where you are punishable. It is, after all, what, minus 6, minus 7? I think minus 7 is the magic number on point blank distance. The minions once again. Blue Wild Assault to make sure to try to build the number of the minions. Good guess. First highest blocked. But the follow-up after that, Leo, of course, every single time you play a back turn normal, you can cancel it with a 2-2 input and be plus, no matter what you did. But that, of course, entails that you leave your mix-up stance and go back into the normal mode, which is, you know, not as good as... Not really good at mixing up the opponent like the back turn stance is. Oh, here comes the flash kick checking. Are you doing a safe jump? If not, then it's my turn to maul. Yeah, there it is once again. Cancel the back turn stance normal, go into a low. It's very dangerous because, like, when you're playing against Leo, every single... Ooh, that's so clean! Especially this this modern patch where that turbulence is no longer punishable at all. You want to throw it if possible. Universal Super gets you out. Spoon still has 50 meter, but I think this burst had to happen. You have to put some distance between you and the gorilla. And if you go close, it better be in your terms. The 2D snipes the low that was coming out from FABZ. Looks like, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at a chess match here. Usually when you see Leo, it's gonna be like, all right, this gorilla would just go in, force things, and just like lose or win. But it's looking like this is gonna be a little more technical, a little more nuanced than that. And you kind of have to play it like that against the high-level Jacko. Because like you can't just flail around. I mean, you can flail, and it has some amount of success. But if you want to be consistent, then you gotta play consistent as well. Comes the unseeable overhead, which started the sequence through the wall, and now suddenly you're guessing for your life. This is what Leo Whitefang is about. Tap the 5D. Even with that FD that FABZ was holding, that was not gonna push Leo far enough away to prevent that tap dust from being a mix-up that time. Oh, that's kind of... Wait, you can hold the minion and kick at the same time? Why haven't I noticed? That is super cool. Setting up the minions, we have an option to go for the install super as well. Breaks the the flash kick though. Even better, we didn't even have to enable the install if the opponent gambles with the reversal instead. There we go, kind of dancing around before unleashing the big commitment. Actually, the 2D is kind of a huge button for both of these characters. Of course, for Leo to send it immediately from like half screen away, especially with the dash momentum, it can catch your opponent off guard. It moves you forward really fast. But so it is for Jacko as well. It moves you into the sort of mix-up position. And, like, even though it's not technically a mix-up for Jacko, it is... I mean, it can be. If you have your goons ready to go, you just cancel that 2D into an attack command and lo and behold, you're in. my god, that sliding momentum was able to block in. Was that not a punish? Safe jab, I think, so Leo should be able to... No, never mind, won't be able to recover in time. But I mean, generally... that's gonna be too slow, huh? Steals the side. Oh, this is actually a good place for Fabs. Spoon will have to... Or, I mean, never mind, won't have to burst if you just find the flash kick timing. I think when I've listened to a couple of different Jacko players talk about, like, just matchups in general, or like Jacko gameplay in general, it can be kind of tricky sometimes setting up your set play as perfectly 9-frame reversal free. Or you could just not perform the difficult setups, you could just hard bait, you could just disengage from the situation, like Fab just did. That is definitely one option, but that kind of opens your opponent up for perhaps being able to No! That is still extended! The activation was still in the recovery phase there for Fabs. And now that means Spoon will be able to take it corner to corner and potentially once again put Fabs in a guess for your life kind of a situation. Yeah, first out of there. The soccer kick minions also triumphing over whatever fireballs that could come across. Minions gain interesting features, interesting properties, depending on how they're sometimes sent against the opponent. The soccer kick being one of the prime suspects of those moves that, you know, modify the properties of them. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Here comes the command grab. No RC? Was that another kill? Go for another one! An extra tree for the collection of trees in this horizontal space. Ooh, was able to tag the minion, which means the active frames of that move are slightly extended as a result. While Assault set up the corner position, option to activate. Blue is the color, usually the high-level Jacko players tend to go for. But still, I mean, it doesn't matter if your minions are secured, if the main body takes the flash kick hit, right? Leo will get out of there just the same. Nice use of FD, pushing Leo at the perfect distance to poke with your 2K. However, Spoon is not giving up this pressure situation, and with this newly discovered corner carry potential for Leo back turn combos, we're gonna once again push the prey into the corner, lock them down, and mix them up. And just like always, the high-low is the name of the game. Even though Leo's back turn heavy, the overhead option is, when you look at the numbers, should be reactable. The problem is that that move does really not have any recognizable frames of animation before it's too late. That makes it, even though it's like very slow for an overhead, it's impossible to react to. Making the back turn mix-up situations extremely deadly for Mr. White Fan. But now, lots of resources on Fabs. That could even be almost a kill, right? No, that is a kill. Don't even need the super. Damn. Either way, Fabs is gonna have to make some sort of adjustment and put a stop sign to Spoon's onslaught so far. Yeah, the turbulence is gonna be safe. And Fab smartly choosing to not fuck with that too much. It's stuff like using the turbulence, putting yourself in such a long distance, and then using really good hitbox moves such as Leo's back turn S. The usual the footsies button that Leo has. That's one of the resources. Nice! The BRC was able to catch Spoon in the middle of the backdash animation. And now, trying to kick the minions forward. Maintain the critical mass as we're... Ooh, it works out! Went for the option select though, so the damage of the throw was not able to register in time. Flash kick for your life. Oh, and the Berserker Slash into a mix-up situation. Let it flat, like let it go. Let it pass one time and you're in a really, really tough situation. It's really the kind of tool that you you just have to counter most of the time. Like you have to have counter play against Berserker Slash 90% of the time. Oh my god, and the BRPS afterwards. If Berserker Slash lands in the front, it's like, is it not minus punishable? Maybe it's not punishable if it's spaced enough, I'm unsure. Stop the mic. Oh, the Warriors is completely gonna whiff because FABZ actually drifted backwards. Brilliant play. Able to put himself on board finally and most importantly, put an end to the massive momentum that Spoon had going into this set so far. Really important, especially in terms of like mentality and stuff like that. Yep, once again the minions triumphing over the fireball of Leo's. Adjusting the spacing, trying to be at a very safe placing against the... Ooh, threw a little too early, but didn't get punished for it either. The minion tossed, preventing Leo from getting out of the corner. Maximum massive damage. That was with a lot of risk as well. And they should be really close to a kill. Unfortunately, FABZ queued up the soccer kick, or rather the kick on the minion already, so wasn't able to get the super. But now, very decent life advantage, and Jacko is one of those characters who generally forces at least a little bit of chip damage on you if you're unwilling to FD your way out of it. Cool interaction there on the round start. Leo 2S versus, what did it be? Jacko 2K? Mixing it up. Can use throw option as well, because you can 2-2 input yourself out of the back turn stance immediately, or rather unreactably. Of course, you can't throw in that stance, but you know you can come out and then queue up the throw, and your opponent can't really react to it per se. Ooh, look at that dance just outside of the DP range. One goes for it again. Basically saying like, all right, even if it gets baited, you're only gonna do this much damage. Yeah, third time. I would as well. It's like the amount of damage that Jacko was able to do on that DP punish is like kind of minuscule, isn't it? So characters like gorilla characters like Leo can consciously force that very good risk reward, even on a move like flash kick, like just a standard DP. They're like, all right, if I get this DP, I'm actually pretty good. Ooh, God, FABZ doing something here. The Weapon X will get the hard knockdown and the corner pressure. FD doing really good work here, pushing Spoon away. But in the end, the tap comes through, and no kill though. Okay, still a chance. The double jump will be met with the well-timed minion throw, and that should be a kill, right? No way to get through the burst. Finally, facing the consequences of the blocked DP, or rather the baited DP. But it's like, what? FABZ got like 2 completely clean DP punishes and still needed to land like at least 2 combos on top of that. So that already kind of spells out how, you know, the reward difference is in this kind of matchups. Right, the 2D from FABZ or Jacko is actually the superior of the two here this time around. Nicely timed gold burst. Able to get to the positive bonus and potentially, ooh, using the 2D as an anti-air there. What if the button that Leo or either Spoon used to jump in wasn't deep enough? Yeah, FD once again, one of the best tools to fight against the back turn stance, if possible. Like if you create enough distance where Leo just gets pushed too far after unloading the high-low, you might be able to get out of the situation by backdashing, for instance, if you know, even if Leo can't, like, back turn cancels for plus frames. And who goes for the 2D first? Yeah, it's gonna be Jacko setting up the sandwich and then actually going all the way to the corner. Nice. Finally, how it set it up perfectly where we can actually unleash this Elysian driver. for the hard knockdown now. Does Jacko actually have safe jumps? I think this should be a safe jump if FABZ is actually using it. Crushing the 2K with a weapon X. Quite the commitment, but you know what we talked about, the risk and reward a while ago. Oh my god, sees the 2D coming in. Flash kicks it, goes in with a Berserker Slash, leaves the corner. Oh my god, this is so hard to see. Jungle drums are banging. And the Gorilla is ready to strike. Let it rock, plus frames. And this time, landed the Berserker Slash on the front, so that's considerably minus, but apparently not punishable. I'm actually tempted to pull out my phone again and checking like what is Berserker Slash on block if it lands on the front. I was pretty sure it's like -5-ish or something, but maybe not. I'm definitely gonna check between the games here. Ooh, got the backdash with the 2D. Yeah, one of the primary features, or one of the really good features of both of the 2Ds is that it chases the opponent's character like crazy. Able to backdash initially from that backturn S. Yeah, nothing to do here unless you have your own super, I guess. Deflect Shield even does nothing. It is so plus that Leo just had an opportunity to dash back in afterwards. My goodness. All right, let's check. What were we checking? The frick. I just forgot what we were about to check. Oh well. I guess it's gonna come back in the end. Force the burst very early into this round, but that means now there's potential for FABZ to lock down. When is the... There's the flash kick gonna... There's the flash kick that we've been waiting for. And a big cash out this time as well, because there was quite a bit of risk there. That's Half-Life. Ah, but of course you go for it again. You can enforce... Oh yeah, it was the Berserker Slash that I was about to check. Will apparently not be able to drift through that fireball. Now usually the S fireball for Leo is kind of like a tool to finish rounds off or just to try to annoy the opponent. If Jacko has no minions on board already, it should be okay. Wow, that was a poke and a half. Was that Jacko's 5B or the minion that actually landed that hit? Immediately 2D, met by FABZ's burst. Trying to poke the minions as they are coming in with that 5B. However, kind of need particular type of buttons for the job, and like some characters might enjoy trying to dodge those more rather than trying to poke them. Nice, the reaction is there this time. And a kill as well, making it 3 points even. Unless, wait, did I might have missed point on one of the players because I was reaching for my frame data. Yeah, I was actually right. The Berserker Slash is -6 if it lands from front. So yeah, my memory did serve me correctly. It should be punishable. But of course, it might be one of the... Ooh, the minion actually extending the frame at the active frames of the 2D once again. That could be a good thing, or it could be a bad thing, depending on what you're actually connecting on the minion. If you have something that has a good hitbox and has good active frames, it might not be so bad. But if you're poking into them with something that is very punishable or like doesn't have the best hitbox, has a counter-pokeable hitbox, for instance, that could be an advantage for the Jacko player. Leo had 4? I'll believe you. Yeah, I'm pretty sure as soon as the previous game ended, I took out my phone and forgot to put in the point. Oh, the delayed flash kick! The RPS is evolving. I mean, of course, I think both players... Oh, I think I saw a button, right? Yeah, gonna catch them! And immediately cash out. Does big damage with that risk. Unscaled, backturn super hit, plus wall break immediately. But now perhaps able to... Initially, looks like able to regain some amount of control until the S flash kick says otherwise. OTG is enough. Great presence of mind there. It kind of looks like you couldn't in that situation, but I mean, the Leo players will know the best, right? We could hit right from the get-go. But again, it is the Ice and Storm of the S kind that has been basically the backbone of Spoon's offense. And look at this. If Fab spaces himself too far away, then he might actually whiff the punish. What? It was actually Spoon who throws Fabs in the corner. Are you kidding me? From that air dash? There's like technically no way that the escaping player should be the one getting the throw there. Unless Fabs didn't go for the throw themselves. Great reaction. Safe jump, I hope. Nice backdash out of the throw, and that's gonna be the kill. Making it even again. Ooh, we're getting close to the end game matches here. Both players looking at a situation where, I mean, there's still a little bit of ways to go. Both players think, what, comes down with a soccer kick? Really? That looked kind of cool. As flash kick will make quick work of that air approach. Nice. Checking just in case if the opponent wants to burst here. And indeed, kind of as certain that during that PRC explosion that the opponent is in fact bursting. Got them put. Oh, but the pounds out of the corner, the 2D. The reach of both of those 2Ds is actually massive, which you can like utilize as like it's not just Leo, it's Jacko as well who can utilize that as a surprise poke. And Leo, I think Leo is really not that type of a character who has good like just put the normal out there kind of active moves that could just beat Jacko's 2D like that. Maybe 2S can, but isn't Leo's 2S doesn't have that many active frames, right? Yeah, it only has 3 active frames, so that's really not that kind of a move. Oh, maybe a little bit of a mistake there, or try to go for a blue burst, instead slides in there, and then flash kick. It's definitely a lot of wild options, but, you know, if you want to play wild, this is one of the best characters that you could pick up in Guilty Gear Strive. Hell, in any Guilty Gear game. Leo Whitefang. Ooh, finds a close slash. Starter, which Spoon immediately bursts. Understandable. Nice whiff punish there. Perfect spacing just outside of the 2D range. Or maybe you could say, ha, Spoon, you should have dashed further to make sure that the 2D does not whiff. Drift straight into the 2S. That is still a good button. I think one of the only disjoint buttons that Leo has. I mean, even if it's not active for more than 3 frames, it's still, I mean, it serves its purpose as that button that is hard for the opponent to deal with. Now, is this the first time that FABZ actually takes the lead here during this set? Might be. Ooh, what a counter poke with the parry stance normal. The reason why I believe the reason we haven't seen parry stance too much from Spoon is, well, for one, minions are kind of an annoying thing, but Jacko has like, oh my god, look at that damage. Jacko has 2D, which is one of the furthest reaching lows in the game. You just can't really RPS that very easily with the parry stance, right? Ooh, still, minion coming in with a hit, nullifying the projectile as well. And now, the big choice here. Spoon has 100. Would we burst? Nope, we're just gonna go for that super, and then unchecked Berserker Slash. As long as it crosses up the opponent, it is gonna be +2. But it strictly has to cross up. If it lands on the front, very, very punishable. Very important round here for the rest of the game. Is Fab's gonna run away with the lead? Here comes the copter. Oh, and it's one of those moves that you can actually cancel on the landing. Reaction times once again on point. In fact, this time, not only are you throwing that Berserker Slash, you're putting the opponent in your victory condition. Trade, definitely in Spoon's favor. Getting out of that jail is the most important thing you could ever want. Even if you sacrifice a little bit of life to get out of there. Activate Turbulence, activate back turn stance. And the footsies are immaculate. That back turn S. I guess, yeah, the back turn S is the other accessible source of disjoints for Leo. Like, it has disjoints, right? I'm pretty sure. Other than Leo's 2S. Alright, once again, we have to solve this puzzle. How to get through the minion storm. Ooh, actually gets counter hit by the frame trap Wild Assault. Ooh, that's kind of cool movement, but if you don't get a bigger punish than that, then it's like really hard. Like you do have to avoid the flash kick, but the risk reward is like very hard to justify if you don't get enough of a punish. Berserker Slash once again. This time I think FABZ was trying to use some sort of mobility option and got caught in the end. Yeah, it has to come out. It absolutely has to come out. And with that brilliant play, FABZ moves himself on a really, really strong position here. Needs only one more game, whereas Spoon needs to gorilla their way out of at least 3 to bring this home still. Ooh, I think that was the startup of another Leo 2D. But FABZ was able to produce a good enough hitbox there. I mean, I guess the magic is that you... Like Leo's 2D low crushes because it puts you airborne. So what you actually want to poke it with is high profile pokes, not low profile pokes. Ooh, missing the ender, that's actually critical. Switching sides? Was that a side switch or a combo drop? I guess we shall never know. The fact of the matter is though that FABZ ended up with an L at the end of the round there because of that. Or I guess not because of that, but I mean, partly because of that. Alright, working with the corner. Leo with the double jump. Still not quite out of the active range of all the minions. Commitment, jump in, back turn stance. I think, yeah, because the back turn K was still active. You kind of have to go through the recovery of that move before you could go for a back turn D. The parry. Just like that, FABZ has reached the set point position. One more round, it could be over right here. Both players with equal amount of resources going into the last one. 75% burst gauge, which FABZ would probably love to have back sooner rather than later, or never mind, we're just pushing it for the pressure. I mean, honestly, Wild Assault is the name of the game, has been since Season 3 started. And like, I think strong players understand that as well. Even for the blue Wild Assault users, it's very sought after tool. There could be a burst here. It's in fact what FABZ was hard baiting on. Choosing all the right angles for the minions. Here we go once again. Activate. Minions are secured. But what about the main body? Do the run backs as much as possible. Try to maintain the position as much as possible. The zoning win could be possible here. We got enough minion gauge. YRC is baited, and that's gonna put an end to this set. 4-4 side to side, but then FABZ able to pull out a couple of strategical wins when it matters the most. Keeping the game tight, no longer being overwhelmed by the threat of the S flash kick, or I don't know, perhaps he was, but either way, able to play around it well enough to get the W. It's like, Leo is one of those characters who has such strong repertoire of reversals, not just the flash kick, but also like the weapon X. The combination of different kind of angles and reaches, those can, you know, those can reach. it's surprisingly effective for Leo to just pick a reversal and roll with it. And if it hits, like, if it hits true, like, even if you don't get perfect Oki out of the S flash kick anymore, it's still a pretty decent situation. So, like, just about any Leo matchup that you go into, it's like you just gotta have the DP bait fundamentals. You gotta know the setups for your characters, like what can I do without having to hard bait, because that's kind of what you usually wanna try to strive for. Have as many setups, have as many like set play scenarios where you don't have to guess, where you can just do your thingy and it baits the Leo's option. Or the opponent's option, right? Like, those are not necessarily available for all characters in all situations either. Some characters are blessed with them, some are not. Some are always forced to guess, and if you are, then you better pray that your character has good rewards on baiting that flash kick. Or I mean, it could be Sin DP as well. Both of those are like excellent examples how you just gotta play the reversal RPS. You gotta pick your best damaging combo. Like you have to have rewards out of that, because you're sacrificing something to abort your pressure sequence to dumb down, or rather downgrade your pressure sequence for that bait. So you gotta have something in return as well when you finally get that bait. But anyway, from that fighting game fundamentals tangent, we've reached the end of this show. Lots of really interesting matches tonight. Very even matches as well. So I would say pretty successful, decently successful evening. I had a lot of fun watching. I'm glad that we went through all of that trouble in order to black magic fix the connection between Spoon and FABZ. In the end, it ended up working out. Maybe, wait, I should write that fix down, right? So that we can try that in the future when we have all of these similar future problems. But yeah, anyway, if you want to play next week, we do this every single week, 5 p.m. CEST every Sunday. Join my Discord if you want the sign-up forms. The deadline is usually till Wednesday. And around Wednesday evening or Thursday morning is when the next Sunday's lineup is going to be announced. But that'll be all from us. I'm trying to sort of scout where is action happening as far as Guilty Gear Strive is concerned at the moment. Untitled Unmatched ongoing at the moment, which yeah, we could rate that, because we've been rating Mothbit for like 5 weeks in a row or something. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next week. With the same stuff as usual until the end of time, or at least till the next Guilty Gear game comes out, or maybe we don't stop even then. I've run 3 Guilty Gear games at the same time in my roster once upon a time. Why not run 4? What is next Guilty Gear game gonna be? Anyway, I'll see you next Sunday. Till then, stay safe. Bye-bye.